All right, guys, we have the A-League's first FIFA player in Australia, and that is Marcus Gomes. As you can see, he is wearing the Melbourne City top. Looks very nice there. Marcus, what does it mean to you to be representing Melbourne City in FIFA?
I mean, it's a huge achievement for both myself, like personally, and then it's an honor as well to like have a football club like back me and like want to support me when it comes to just playing a video game to most people. So to have like their faith like put in me to like, hey, I want you to represent our club on a global level. It's pretty insane. So yeah, it's unbelievable, really.
Was it a long road to get there though? Because with FIFA, I mean, there's clearly a lot of skill involved, and to be honest, I've watched some of your videos, like in terms of like you playing the game. I think you're just an outstanding FIFA player. Like your level of play and the ability to do like effective skills and everything was just like stuff I'd never really seen before in FIFA. Um, did that take a while to learn to make that jump from becoming a good FIFA player to becoming someone who can compete on the esports scene?
Well, firstly, thank you for the kind words. I mean, there's a lot of good players out there, so saying that's nice. But yeah, it was a long journey. Like I'd say, I've been playing competitively for about a year now, just under. Um, and there was just a lot of practice, a lot of reviewing my own gameplay, just a lot of playing against top players. I mean, the better people you play against, the more you learn. Um, but then to get to that next esport level, almost like the pro level, as the pro scene people call it. It's like a lot of like fine details and fine tuning of things when it comes to certain timing of moves or passing or tactics and instructions and team and work rates. There's a lot to it than meets the eye for most people, which is understandable because FIFA is a very casual game for most. But there is that next like very upper bracket of play. So yeah, it was a long journey. I had to learn a lot. I had to learn quickly as well because if I didn't learn quickly, I wouldn't qualify. So it was kind of a sink or swim situation last year. Um, and luckily, I was learning quickly. Um, but every time I took a big loss or just struggled against someone, I had to learn from that. Otherwise, I wouldn't improve as quickly as I needed to because my starting level wasn't as good as others. I was good at the game, but I wasn't that as good as others because they've been playing competitively previously before FIFA 17. So I was very new to the competitive scene and just the competitive style of play. It's very different to a casual play. It's much more intense and it's really just play to win. It's all about the result at the end of the game. It's not about scoring nice goals or great passing moves or using your favorite players. It's all about just winning the game. But yeah, that was probably one of the biggest parts that I learned. But yeah, it was a long journey to say the least.
How did you apply your learning, Marcus? Because obviously, like when you improve at something, you need to also apply. Like, for instance, we had Felix on, Felix Mdeg's Speedcuber last week, and
Yeah.
some of what he learned was through himself, and some of it was, watching tutorials and stuff on YouTube. Um, in FIFA, you can learn through playing games against
Mm.
opponents from around the world, or you can also go into the practice arena as just a single player like Cristiano Ronaldo v a goalkeeper and just practice your skills
Yeah.
there. What was your first port of call for applying your learning, be it like a Berber spin skill or skill move in general?
I'd say for me personally, it was doing that offline stuff. You'd say the more one-on-one stuff where it's you versus the computer, or it's just like you by yourself in the arena learning stuff. Because um, while some people like to just dive into the deep end and learn like on the go, and whether it's like you might struggle against people, but if you're trying to learn like say the Berber tail at multiple times over multiple games, but eventually you get it after like 10, 15 games. I'm the kind of person that likes to go into the arena and I'll practice that move for hours on end. And I'll have something on in the background to distract me because that doesn't sound like the most fun thing to do, just to sit there and just do like a skill move over and over again in different directions and different timing, like with skill games. But um, I'm that kind of player. I wouldn't say I'm perfectionist, but I want to like, that's the way I'd like to do it. Others would do it the other way. But yeah, it was definitely improving myself first, and then as much as I could. And then once I kind of hit a ceiling in a sense, in terms of both my skill and what I thought was good, like obviously I had my own tactics and everything, but once I'm like, okay, this is good, but could it be meant to watch other pro players, or I wasn't a pro player at the time, but pro player games and top level games and playing against other top players and taking stuff from them or not taking stuff from them, I'd learn that, hey, my stuff works well against them, or I'd learn, oh, wow, his stuff's really good. Like how he pressured me was really well, or his formation really good. So it was definitely working on me first and making sure I was at my closest to my maximum level, and then using experience from other people to try and build on that. That's the way I did it.
Would you call yourself an aggressive FIFA player? Like, do you have an attacking style of game, or do you like to be kind of calculated with your passes and movements?
I'm definitely the calculated style. It's weird because the way I bring it back to real life, because obviously you play FIFA, you have some enjoyment when it comes to the real game, whether it's like watching it, playing it, or both. And for me, it was more so playing it. I love watching it, but for me, it's like playing the game. And my style in real life is very aggressive. I like to like chase the ball down and attack quickly. Maybe it's just the way we were taught here in Australia to play the game. It's probably it. Let's be honest. But that's the way I like to play. Yeah, Lewis from Spain. It's like, yeah, what do you want about? But yeah, that's the way we've been taught to play, and that's the way I've always thought in my head to play. But that's one thing I probably learned the most from the pro play, especially in Europe, about how to play a controlled and like very calculated game when it comes to keeping the ball, not just defending and just trying to win the ball straight away, trying to trap your opponent into certain areas of the pitch so they have no choice but to really give the ball back to you, stuff like that. And I've probably since early this year, after my first tournament in Feb, I learned really the hard way from losing to a couple of really good players who kept possession really well, and just played a controlled style, not just always possession, but I learned the hard way by losing it. I'm like, okay, that's the style I want to learn, because I felt like it had the highest like ceiling when it comes to like skill, while an aggressive style is like very good and you can beat a lot of like lesser players with it and really just beat, like smash people like 5-6-0, whatever you want. I feel like a controlled style when it comes to how good you can be, because really like keeping possession is like a very hard thing to do. So if you're the best at it in the world, you're really like close to unbeatable, because it's so hard, people don't do it. So that's definitely the way I play now. But there are instances when I go back to my I guess my instinct. I'm just like, okay, give me the ball back now. Like I'm going to try and score as soon as possible. So it's nice to have both. But yeah, definitely controlled is my way to play now.
How about yourself, Lewis? Do you prefer when you play FIFA an aggressive style, or do you like to control the ball like a Barcelona type of play?
You probably got neither of them right. I mean, park the bus all the way, dude, and on the counter. That's my way. I don't like to keep the ball. I don't like keeping the ball.
It's funny you say that. Because that's the way I used to play a lot. To qualify for the first regional last year, qualifying was in November. So right now, last year, literally a year ago, and that's the way I played. Just my best skill back then in FIFA, and maybe still now, is defending and being able to read people and get blocks in, and right tackling at the right time and pressing people like really well with multiple players. So that was my best skill. I think that just came from playing in real life, but. So I use that to my advantage. I'm like, if my defense is solid, I can't lose. And all I need is one chance, a couple of chances, get a goal on the break, and that's it. And then it's a very frustrating way to play for your opponent, because especially if they're better than you and like they just can't get through your defense. Like I used to run 5 at the back and the wing backs, I wouldn't have them push forward too much. I just have them enough to support the midfield, but they wouldn't be like in my box. They'd just be enough to have a passing option. But as soon as I lost it, they were back, and it was a wall of five,
You
and then two midfielders, and then
yeah, when you started competing, that's probably what you did. But against me, you still had more of the ball. Like I'm just so bad with the ball.
but
yeah.
It's gonna be a personal preference though. I mean, like some people just don't
No,
like having the
totally.
ball because when you have the ball, I mean, when you have the ball, your team does push up, especially in FIFA. You can, because you can choose to have the ball in your life and like sit pretty deep in your own half and have your centre backs like 5 meters outside the top of your own box and just keep the ball and have your team pretty composed, not composed, like pretty compressed, and then just have your striker just up front, just making sure the back line stays like where they are. But in FIFA, once you start keeping the ball, your team just pushes up just naturally because how the AI works, like, oh, we've got the ball. That's getting good attacking. This defense of your team is set up. Like that's just how it is. So people don't like having the ball.
Yeah, especially with like I guess offensive, defensive mindset and stuff. Like I mean, they have improved it in terms of controlling the fullbacks, how far up they go. But again, like you say, it's not nowhere near real life. I mean, if it was, I mean, I would go up.
It's not.
I used to go up, but yeah, I just love defending. It's all preference, really.
I think defending is really, when it comes to like the top level of just any of FIFA, just like you tell how good they are by how good they defend. Because I mean, while there's certain tactics that make defending less of a skill, those like top players, they're the best defenders, and like you can see why they win because they might not be the best attackers, but if they don't concede, I mean, they're good to go. So that's what I base my gameplay off. It's still like that. My first thinking is not trying to outscore my opponent; it's trying to not concede. So people call it a bit of a negative style of thinking, but
no, I wouldn't have.
That's just how it is.
I wouldn't have thought about that because, like you said, aggressive. But in terms of you hate conceding, yeah.
Yeah. So I use that aggression to win the ball back and be in my opponent's face, so they'll make mistakes, and also like you can't sit too deep because I mean you can sit deep at times, like especially you're trying to absorb a lot of pressure to go on the break. There's certain times for it. You can tell when your opponent starts to get a little frustrated and they'll start pushing their guys forward and sprinting forward with their fullbacks. So yeah, absorb a bit of pressure, come back with your midfielders and like absorb that pressure. And there's other times when they're just like they're getting a bit complacent because they have so much of the ball. You can just press them really quickly and they'll make a mistake, and then that's where your chances come from when it's a very like hyper aggressive yet defensive style, Mourinho-esque at times.
Oh, that's the one.
Talking about Mourinho, this is a bit of a card I've got. The Theatre of Dreams. and then you open it up, and it's got the.
It's a stadium, isn't it? Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
It's a stadium.
No, it's a nice
it's cool. One. It's cool. Yeah, I've seen that before.
It's like a pop-up card thing.
It's really awesome.
So you put it horizontal, it's like the stadium pops up. You mean?
Yeah. So like, hang on, I can't really. Yeah. So if you go,
it's hard to show.
Like that. Once you open it up. Like, hang on, this is a better.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the Theatre of Dreams. I got it for only like $5 or something. They had like Real Madrid there, and I was like, I have it as a nice, bedroom souvenir. It's well, talking about real life teams. Like, what's your preference, Marcus, in terms of obviously you've got a high ranking in Ultimate Team, but when it comes to playing as a FIFA club, what's your go-to club that fits your playing style?
Ooh, that's a tough one because, I mean, while it ultimately depends on what my opponent's playing, probably the go-to this year for me, it's probably funny you bring it up. It probably is United when it comes to like the go-to club to play, but and the reasons being is that they're so like strong and big, like physically just dominate. Like you go through their lineup, you got De Gea in goal. He's probably one of the best keepers, if not the best keeper in the world. And then you got Valencia at right back. You probably play Shaw at left back. They're just like they're big fullbacks. Like you're not just gonna like push past them. You got Baye and then either Rojo or Smalling in the middle. Like just strong, pacey defenders. And then let's say you play just a 4-2-3 and just a classic, formation that you see these days. And then you can use Pogba and Matic just like man mountains again, and then you're gonna have Flandy off the bench if you really want. Herrera, who's like no weak player. Like there's no weak players in the team. Like the weakest player in your lineup, if you play a front four of like Lukaku up front, Martial on the left, yeah, it's maybe Mata, but even then, if you play Mkhitaryan instead of him in the hole, like Mkhitaryan's like not really that weak either for an attacking player. And then Rashford on the right, you bring like Lingard off the bench, and like obviously like the bench is the bench, but like they're just so strong that when it comes to such tight games, things in a tight game for me personally is being able to like hold the ball off and shield the ball under pressure, because the best players in the world are so good at pressing you that you have to be able to just shield them with your body. So having the, like, say I've got the ball in midfield and I'm under a lot of pressure, being able to fizz it into Matic's feet and then hold L2. Well, yeah, I'm both consoles. Hold L2 and being able to hold the ball up is just is huge, because you can just you can just not lose the ball. It's just massive. But like while they're the best team, I really do like playing with of course Real Madrid. I mean, who doesn't like playing with Real Madrid? You've got Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Ronaldo, Bale, like you can pretty much single-handedly win the game with those two players, plus like Ramos at the back as well, and Benzema's no slouch.
Game over.
And then
it's game over.
And then by that, besides that, I like Bayern. I like Man City as well. Especially defense is a bit iffy, but the rest of the team is like solid. And if you're a really good possession player, and a good attacker in general with Man City, you can just dominate people. It doesn't matter how I guess on average your defense looks compared to other people. So probably like those four teams, and maybe put in a Juve or a PSG in there, one of those two, just as a preference team. But yeah, it's definitely like United, Real Madrid. Don't really like Barca or Atletico or I'm trying to Chelsea. Arsenal, no, and then Spurs and Liverpool, no. So United are really the strongest team when it comes to it, and then Real Madrid, if you're really good with like attacking and Ronaldo and Bale, because you can just win the game in head-to-head with those two players. And then probably the third team would be either City or Bayern, one of those two.
You have to like in tournaments, you have to play with real life teams. Just choose a few of them, or like can you have ultimate teams as well?
Yeah. So like the tournaments right now that I'm playing, like my game mode is Ultimate Team. So it's like if I get to a tournament, it will be they'll have like special editions of the game where you have all the players that are currently in the game available to you. So Pele, Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldinho, all the icons, all the goal players, all the special cards. But then there's also tournaments that are head-to-head as well. And most of those are either you just play head-to-head with any team, and then you play head-to-head with, so it's like you can just choose whoever you want. And then some of them are like restricted on what star rating the team is, but those are mostly online. Like you got like the 4.5-star cup, the 4-star cup, and then the 5-star cup. So those are online mostly. And then the other one that you see a lot is with head-to-head is national team. So national teams only. That makes it a bit interesting because there's only so many good national teams, and it's kind of interesting to watch compared to just seeing Real Madrid literally every single game. But I mean, for national team, I'd probably have to go with. It's a tough one. Belgium, Brazil are really strong. France as well. Probably those three. Yeah, but I play Ultimate Team, so
no Germany.
Germany, you're missing. I know Germany, you're missing that star man for me personally. Like every team has that star man, like or like a front, like a combination of three like star players. Like if you got France, for example, if you count Kante, Pogba, Kante, Griezmann, Benzema, Lacazette, like it's that kind of like combo of just so many good quality players that have all the stats for FIFA that you need, size or just strength or pace, stamina, like just those physical stats that really like separate the top players in this game. You could go Germany, but then like if you're comparing Griezmann to like Özil, who would you want?
You know all the stats more than us.
Yeah.
I mean, Germany, the thing I'm thinking probably about Germany is no striker. there, maybe.
I mean, you got Timo Werner, for example, but like you want Werner, you want
Yeah,
Griezmann or
but
Lacazette.
compared to Benzema, it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And with head to head, because there's no ultimate team chemistry, you don't get the boost from like the chemistry styles and stuff. So that's a massive part, because on ultimate team you can have a pretty average striker. I mean, I'm not calling Werner average, but if you say if it was Werner and then you give him like a shooting boost from his chem style and he's on 10 chem, which is the max chem, his stats just go crazy. Like they'll just go to like close to 99. But on head to head, it's not like that. So you do need the top players, because if they're not the top players, they will miss. And in tight games, you only get like 4 to 5 chances against the really good players. You need to score at least 1 or 2 of them, otherwise you just straight up will lose. So yeah, probably yeah. But like then again, like I've seen people that play with like those lesser teams when it's Italy or it's like Germany or Liverpool, Spurs, and like they Spain, and they still do just as well, because it's all down to your preference at the end of the day. Master one team and master how they all work, like they all play and how they all feel in the game. You can play against anyone. Like that's the good thing about FIFA. Really, all the top teams are usable.
But then again, you have that element of where you can change the stats of how a particular team plays. So FIFA, in the EA sense, they do a good job of setting the pace. I'm talking more career mode here, but but if you don't like the tendency or frequency of passes a team tends to do, you can adjust it. You can also, edit the work rates of positions, which Marcus was touching on a little bit earlier, where, you can have the wing backs, or not even necessarily wing backs, you can have right backs pushing up as wing backs to always overlap. That's a key one that I use. I always have kind of my right back, like be it like a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 holding or something, having the right back, left back overlap, because it presents more attacking options, particularly if you've got pacey defenders on either side. I think that's really important. Are you big on customizing the work rates of positions, Marcus, when you're playing like on multiplayer, or is that just something you're not focused on? You focus on other things?
The play instructions, like whether like stay back or get forward for certain positions, and then the custom tactics are huge. Not all, they're huge, but like they're overrated by some. Like people think like you use certain pro custom tactics and you can just straight up win the game. Not true, but for every personal style, like you were saying about the passing thing, for example, having your team make less passes or make more passes. So from my memory, the custom tactics, how it works is that the second option on the passing, which is, I think it's just the second called passing in build-up play. The larger that is, so closer to 100, the less, like the longer your team's passes will be, which means your team will spread out more, which will mean really you make less passes to go from defense to attack. The shorter, obviously, the less passes, the more tiki-taka-esque play you'll have. So for me personally, that's a big thing. Like mine's lower on the 50 is really balanced. Mine's between like 30 to 40. Because I like to play a lot of the ball, and if I'm under pressure, I want players to come to feet and pick it up instead of just running away and creating space. I'm not going to be launching it forward. But then, like you're right, because it's all personal preference. Because if you've got a big team, for example, say you're playing like just a flat 4-4-2, just a classic formation, and you've got like 2 bigger guys up front. Let's say you are using United, and you've got like Rashford and Lukaku up front. You might be under pressure with your centre back instead of passing the ball, you can just launch it up and just hold out with your strikers. So it's all personal preference, but yeah, those custom tactics are huge for me. I'm usually tweaking with mine like every single week, and then play instructions. I'm like you. I like to have my fullbacks go forward, but you just got to be careful about losing the ball in the right positions, because if you lose it in the wrong position, it's really easy to get counterattacked this year, and same with real life. So you can't afford to give the ball up in a really bad position and have both or even just one of your fullbacks up, because then it's almost like a 3v3 situation if your centre mids push up as well. So yeah, you got to be careful. It's that almost that risk versus reward. Do you want your fullbacks to push up and then you dominate the ball because you have the numbers advantage, but if you lose it in a bad position, then you might concede. So it's risky. It's risky style. Most guys like to have their fullbacks stay back because they're like, well, I'm going to lose the ball, so might as well just have them stay back and let's have a flat four. But then they'll hold less possession because they don't have the fullbacks supporting the attack. So yeah, it's all tactics. I mean, well, there's usually two ways of playing it. People like have their fullbacks go up or not go up. Same with like strikers, and like wingers. They want them to come to feed, come short, or they want them to get in behind. Most of the big difference you see in midfield, it's say if you're people playing a pivot, two midfielders, and it's like CDMs. A lot of people like having both the CDMs sit back and just let the front four attack. And then some guys just leave it, like want them both to get forward, and you have like a front six pressing your opposition. And then a lot of guys like myself have it so you're more defensive guy. Your Matic, for example, sits deep, and then you've got your Pogba-esque player to push forward and support. But then, yeah, I mean, it's all personal preference because if you do that, your team's maybe unbalanced because, Matic is on the left-hand side and he's staying back while Pogba's pushing forward. There's a massive gap on the right-hand side. So if a smart opponent will just exploit it and just not go down that other side and go down the other side. So it's all tactics. It's all just like real life. It's just like it all, the pros and cons to everything.
But can the work rates of the individual players affect the player instructions? So, for instance, Matic is a medium attacking, high defensive midfielder. If someone, not that you would do this, but just for example's sake, say you would want Matic. Oh, actually, what's a better example? Pogba. Okay, so Pogba is attacking, high attacking, medium defensive, but you want him holding, for some reason you want him staying behind. Will his player will his work rates affect the player instruction of making him stay behind because his tendency is to go forward?
This year, no. As Lewis was saying before about like the I think it was saying the fullbacks had it this year. It's much better this year. They actually listen to your instructions. So if you get them to, you say stay back while attacking, they actually will. Last year, unfortunately, if you did that, it didn't matter. They just went forward no matter what. So this year, it's they've improved that in something in the coding. So if you stay back while attacking to Pogba, he will stay back while attacking. So that's really nice. So yeah, you can, in a sense, overwrite the work rates. Which is good, which is a good thing, I think. But I mean, for me personally, I think a player like Pogba, I mean, for me, I wouldn't want him just to sit like back all the time because there'll be tough games where I'm like, oh, I wish he was just there at the top of the box, but he's sitting really deep because you've got him that way. So that's why work rates is still important, because if you've got a player with, say, high work rates, here's a good example. Vidal, for example, is a box-to-box player. You don't really have to put any instruction on him. Just let him do his thing. You tell him to sit back, then you're holding him back, and you tell him to get forward. I mean, that's kind of crazy because he's going to be playing like striker. And then if you tell him just to balance, just leave it, he'll just do his thing. He'll just be up and down the pitch. So that's why having a good work rate is still important, because it allows you that freedom. Because you can leave Pogba on balance, but then there'll be times when he won't come back because he's only got a medium defensive work rate, so he'll just be jogging back. So that's why most guys play it safe. Most guys play it safe and put him on stay back because they're like, oh man, I don't want him jogging back. I'd rather him just not score than him cost me a goal. And that's most people's thinking. So yeah, that's why work rates are still important. They're not just completely irrelevant because of instructions. So I think they've done really well this year with that, because it's important to have good players still, not just you can just chuck anyone there and just tell them to sit back, because it's good.
One of the beauties about, an Arturo Vidal or a Paul Pogba is their stamina. So they have great stamina. They can run for days. And I'd assume, well, obviously stamina would be a huge thing in FIFA gameplay in general. does stamina influence your selection making? Would you say when you're playing against an elite player? Because sometimes you can have really good players who are not necessarily high in stamina, so they might get tired later on. Does that factor into your thinking?
A little bit. I think the best example for that this year is Messi. I mean, every year really it is
Yeah,
Messi.
it's 73, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's 73. I haven't got it in my team yet, so I haven't checked his stamina out. But I knew it's low, and like I knew he'd start fatiguing very heavily from the 60th to 70th minute. So that's probably the best example. But with the new introduction of quick substitutions with the right trigger, it's less of an issue for me personally. People didn't see that as a big like improvement to the game, but I love the quick substitution thing. Yeah, because say if my Messi is getting really tired at like he's playing like attacking middle on the wing, and it's like the 70th minute and the game's 1-1, I can just the ball it's a dead ball, I can just hold the right trigger and just sub him out. So while it's important,
I was thinking, Marcus, like you wouldn't be able to as you're saying, without substitution, you wouldn't be able to pause the game, right? If you didn't have the ball, whereas when you don't have the ball, you can, as you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's big. That's like
it's massive.
You sub in maybe 10 minutes when you actually want to, when the ball actually goes out next time. Well, because you can't pause the game without the ball, right?
Without the ball, you have to cue the pause. So say if like one of you guys have the ball and we're playing, and you got it at your back and it's like 1-1, and I'm like, oh man, Messi's really tired. This is not good. Or my CDM's really tired, for example. Instead of using Pogba and Vidal, I had Modric, who's like no slouch, but like he's not like some edge and beast like these guys like on FIFA in terms of stats. I'm like, oh man, Modric's really tired. I need to sub him out from like my super sub midfielder, whoever's on the bench. But I don't have the ball, so I have to cue a pause, and then the pressure starts to get to me because like I'm like, oh man, if I can see because Modric is super tired and he loses like a one-on-one battle, or I just can't chase someone down because he's just low stamina. So having that ability to get the ball out of play or concede a foul and then sub Modric off without having to pause the game is huge. Because
winning the ball as well.
Yeah, because like pausing the game like sometimes can not help you at all. Like if you want to pause the game just to make a sub, your opponent can use that whole 40 seconds or whatever, I think, to make tactical changes, to make his own subs that he wasn't thinking about. Like I could be winning game 2-1 and want to sub Messi off to make it 3-1. But my opponent's like, oh man, he's paused. Oh, I'll make a sub. He didn't think about it before because he only thought about it once I made a sub. So I made a sub. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll make a sub. And then he brings on 2 attackers and scores a goal because he made a sub. So I don't always like pausing the game because it gives your opponent a chance back into the game as well. Like depending on the situation, sometimes you have to pause. You can't be greedy with your pauses. You got to be like, all right, I need to pause the game now. But yeah, stamina is important, but it won't stop me from picking a player like Messi. But I will have someone on the bench to sub him out straight away when I need to. Because if a player like him, like who's relatively small and weak, if he can't run, then it's a bit of a struggle.
We should definitely ask him his first 11, Jono.
Yeah,
go for it.
So right now I'm rocking a 4-2-3-1 wide. You just like last year, you're able to pause the game and switch your formation in game. So I do that. I switch to the narrow with the camps. I just prefer the team to just be a bit more compact in attack and defense. Wide play is better this year compared to last year, but it's very hard to make chances against some really good defenders on the wing. I'm not the best dribbler when it comes to like I'm good at it, but I'm not like the best like one-on-one dribbler. Some guys are just insane at it. So I need to be able to get my players closer to do intricate passing and stuff. Anyway, I've got the Gea in goal. Valencia's at right back, Bai at right, Boateng left centre back, Alaba at left back, and then my right CDM is Pogba, left CDM's Vidal, my right mid's Bale, left mid's Ronaldo, my cam is Hernandez, Icon Hernandez, and then up front I've got Suarez. So yeah, it's pretty stacked, but one thing about FIFA this year is that if you don't have a mega team as a pro player, you can really struggle because the so-called pay-to-win factor this year is very strong. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, I did put FIFA points into the game because like it was literally like everyone was doing it, and if I didn't do it, I'm at a massive disadvantage. Being a pro player, you kind of don't want to be at a disadvantage going into a game already. You want to be an advantage really to just maximize your skill. So while that team I've told you is really good,
What a point.
yeah, while that team's really good, there's people that have better teams by far than me here. Not just in like that's not even thinking about NA, South America, and like Europe. So yeah, it's a good team. Don't get me wrong, amazing team. I got Ronaldo already. Like it's been a month, but
Yeah, you can't complain.
yeah, people have like Suarez is great. Don't get me wrong, Bale's great, but people have like Messi. People have like icons like Maradona, R9, Ronaldinho, Ruud Gullit, Patrick Vieira, like guys like that. I'm not at that level yet because those guys cost like 1 to 3 mil per player. So that's like nearly all my whole squad's worth like 3.5 mil. So I don't even have enough to buy some people's teams. One of their players is worth more than my whole team, which is crazy to think considering it's currently the start of November. But that's the way it is. It's kind of just like, you gotta put money into the game at the start. Otherwise, you have very little chance of qualifying. Yeah. So that's my XI.
Jono, you're not gonna like that, Jono. You probably want a salary cap.
All
a salary
right.
cap.
No,
Well,
no, I disagree. No, I get your point, Lewis. I understand your point. But for what would be the fun of having a salary cap in Ultimate Team? It kind of caps your ability to bring in players, and I kind of I think it makes sense to do it like that in the Ultimate Team sense. The real life is another thing, but because there's that whole argument, or well, we're diverting into another topic now, but there's this whole argument of, should teams like, the equalization measures of, lower teams getting more money, and, it hasn't quite worked in the past. I like it. I like it like that, Lewis. I like it, not to say have it.
No, I probably thought you would anyway. Like, and you run a risk, in terms of you actually spending that money. Then you have to make sure you like that player, because if you don't, then
I mean, the thing is, like, EA will never get rid of like this current system because it makes them so much money. Like to 12k FIFA points costs, I think, 110 to 120 Australian dollars, which is 12k is great, right? But like if you want to open packs, that 12k will go like nothing. And there's no guarantee that you're gonna get something good. If you want to play draft, that takes a long time, and there's no guarantee that your rewards from draft are good. And that's what you can do with the points. So you can't use the points to actually go out and buy players. So it literally comes down to luck and how lucky you are with your packs and how lucky you are. Yeah, that's it. With your pack, what you pack. So people that don't get lucky, like a pro player, for example, are almost forced to keep buying FIFA points. And trust me, like that adds up real quick. Like there's people on Twitter I've seen that dump thousands of pounds into the game, like at the start, like thousands of pounds. And like, it's not about being able to do it. It's about like, for me personally, like I can do that. I'm sure a lot of people have $1,000 they could put into, like, why? Like I can't bring myself to do that personally. Who knows? Maybe we'll be sitting here in a year's time and I'll be like, oh man, I just dumped 5k into the FIFA in week 1.
Can you imagine? I wouldn't be able to say that right now.
Yeah, but like, I just can't do it personally because I'm just like, you can dump that much money and there's no guarantee that you're going to get something good. You could be sitting on the same amount of coins as someone who dumped $100 into the game, but just based off straight luck. It's all luck. So, yeah, I think I've spent $200 this year. I've bought 12k twice. So that was just to do draft, really, because spending coins on draft is 15k, so it's not worth it because you're not guaranteed 15k back, which is what brings it back to the luck point. It's all luck. So Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. I wouldn't mind seeing like some kind of salary cap, but it's never going to happen because they make so much money. It's just how it is.
No,
It's
no,
just like, yeah.
I wasn't thinking of bringing it up, but I just thought of Jono and how, you know, he likes salary caps. Let's face it. He doesn't like Man City and PSG running away with all the money. But no, in FIFA, how can you do that? No way. I mean, they're interested in it. But and yeah, I mean, I wouldn't spend that much either. It doesn't guarantee that much. Helps, but
oh no, it helps a
what it is.
lot, especially for those like the guys in Europe where the competition's much tougher. Having a so-called super team can literally boost you from like your average of 35 wins to 39, 40. Because you those 5 or so tough games you have against like pro players, you can just win because your team is so much better. They're better, they're stronger, they're faster, the stamina's better. So if it goes to extra time, you've got a massive advantage. They're just better at everything, really. So it's just, yeah. I mean, I see why people do it, but I can't bring myself to do that.
Yeah, actually, now that's explained, I actually retreat on a little bit on what I said because I didn't really understand the full logic behind it. Because I don't play Ultimate Team that much. I'm more into career mode and stuff like that offline. Yeah. But now that is explained, that is interesting. Like, because it gives an advantage to people who have that wealth, and FIFA would be appealing to.
Now he wants it.
Well, FIFA would be appealing to. Yeah, I didn't really understand it before, Lewis. So yeah,
you've never played. You were a lot into career mode, which I like a lot as well. But I just wish I told you so many times like there was an online within career mode. But how do you make that work?
Oh yeah, so like my team against your squad. Oh man, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
I can't think of a way of making that happen.
Yeah, no, I can't think of a way of either because like the fear factor comes into it again. Like for example, if you start a career mode and you're just doing it like just normally, right? Like you've got your stuff on. You've even got your money on strict. I think the strict setting. So when it comes to transfers, you're playing on legendary. What else? You're starting with like a pretty average squad. Like say you started with I don't know. It's an average team, right? Just not like top team, just an average team trying to build them up. And I start with PSG. I'm playing an amateur. I've used like all the boosts from the catalog to get like as much like stuff as possible. And I'm going out and buying the biggest players, and then we match up in a game. Like say I'm PSG and you're Marseille, and you're in my league, and we play. You know,
already a disadvantage.
It's already a disadvantage. I mean, but it'd be fun though because
I was thinking, Marcus, they could set a split. So like, because if you play by yourself offline, you can be playing a game in January, February, and all that. Well, within a day, that you'd have had to play a lot of FIFA that day to make it that far into the calendar. You were starting the season now, but make it like fixed dates, and I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like I don't know. Well, you have to. I mean, it would have to be a bit of a commitment. I'm sure it happens to you as well. I think you mentioned once that you have to play on a specific date a number of games. So maybe that could work in career mode, but it does make people organize themselves. And if you're sick or you can't play or whatever, then that's really bad luck. I mean, maybe that's happened to you or something.
Yeah, I think
you have to play on specific dates.
Yeah, I have to play between Friday and Monday. Yeah. Every week.
Well,
but
what if something like really important pops up? I mean, that's just like really bad luck, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's straight up bad luck. Like if your internet goes down, or I don't know what else could happen, but like that's a real life thing. If your internet goes down, like you got to go find someone else to play. But if it's like, say if I'm playing on Sunday.
Let me play now.
Yeah, no, that's how it is though. It's like because it's during a time period every single weekend. Everything has to be as like right as possible during that time. Like you can't have anything to go wrong. So when there's a lot of external factors that you can't control, like your power going out, there being a massive storm, like this is stuff you can't control. So you can't worry about that. But That would be a cool idea regarding career mode. I think that what they should do regarding career mode is you should be able to set up a friends like league. So say if I start a career mode in the EPL and I'm Man City, and I can choose. There's 20 teams in the EPL. 20, I think. Not sure.
Oh, Marcus,
yeah.
You doubted Marcus.
So there's 19 other friends I grab, and everyone picks a team, and we can do some fun way where it's like we pick it out of a hat, like online, or it's randomly drawn, and then everyone starts doing a career mode, and we can choose to play against each other. So say if like you're available, Lewis is available, and Lewis gets Lewis gets Everton, right? So it's a pretty decent team. And Jono gets lucky, Jono gets United, right? So and say it's me versus Jono this weekend, but Jono can't play, that's fine. I'll just play it normally. But then like when the fixtures line up and Jono can play, then boom, like we play an online game, and like it's career mode. It goes towards career mode. I think that would be amazing. Like, and like imagine the series you could see on YouTube. Like it'd just be amazing. Like the amount of fun you could have.
Yeah, I've definitely not come up with the idea. I'm sure a lot of people want it. It's just well, this leads me sort of to my next question. Do you think there will ever be like the perfect FIFA game? Because I mean, they've always got something planned out.
Honestly, I don't think there will be, because the issue regarding making the perfect FIFA game is that because the game is released yearly, like on a cycle, compared to other esports like League of Legends, CS:GO, Dota, I think like the game is refined. Like they have a base game. Like if say if FIFA was just called FIFA, and then it's updated like consistently. So
because of the numbers.
Yeah. So it's just to make a perfect a FIFA game when they build a game, like they've built 18, and then I'm not sure if they've already started. They might have already started, but they've started building 19 like already. They only have like a 7 to 8 month period to build a new game basically, or like as new as possible, and add new stuff so more casuals will buy it. It's just too hard to make a perfect game, because also, I mean, what's perfect? What's perfect for the casual player? What's perfect for the career mode player like John? What's perfect for the pro player, the competitive player, the guy who enjoys just playing friendly games with his mates, the guy who enjoys playing pro clubs, the guy who enjoys playing Be a Pro. There's so many game modes, co-op seasons, like there's so many game modes that like to get everything right, it's probably not even worth their time or investment in money to get like new staff and more staff, because it's probably just not worth their time, because like while all those other career modes and like those modes are nice, the truth is most people will just buy FIFA every year, like no matter what. And if the game's still half decent, you'll pick it up if you don't play Ultimate Team. But then all the money they make is through Ultimate Team, which is the truth. They make all their money through Ultimate Team. FIFA points, just so much money. Like it's unbelievable how much money they make. So
that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, but I know it's ridiculous, because they don't make enough money through career mode and such to value making massive changes like the online league we're talking about, or making pro clubs like amazing, or making Be a Pro, which I think has amazing potential for a career mode, kind of like how they've made the journey like that now. But I think like before that, Be a Pro was just like had so much potential, and now the journey has potential too, kind of like NBA My Player. But like they've put so much effort into that because they know that the new journey system will sell copies just to the casual player. They're like, oh man, I want to play the journey, and they'll be done with it in 2 months, and they won't touch FIFA for the rest of the year. But that's a copy sold. Whereas the Ultimate Team player buys the game, pre-orders the game always, and then spends money on it the whole year. When it like at the start of the game, like right now, there's gonna be there'll be like market crashes coming out. So people will spend points on like the promo packs come out. There'll be Team of the Year, Team of the Season, all the different like promotional stuff that comes out. Yeah, Christmas. So much stuff comes out in Ultimate Team that are like, that's the money. Let's focus on that. So I can't blame them, but it's the sad truth. What people have been saying is to create the perfect FIFA game for everyone. They should release FIFA as a competitive game. Just call it FIFA or whatever you want to call it, and just leave it to the side. Like it's a standalone game, you know? It's just like, that's all it is. You go into FIFA and it's literally just Ultimate Team for champions. Like that's it. And then
although the release of new consoles affects that kind of perfect game because
yeah.
Well, are you going to get the new Xbox, for instance?
I've
Do you
heard good
have
things
to,
about it.
or?
No, I don't have to. I've heard good things. I've just got the newish, I did the most recent Xbox besides that one, and like it works fine. But I really don't think it's a.
No,
it's
no,
a
it was just a curiosity in terms of like
yeah,
if it
yeah.
affects you going to tournaments, because you have to. When you go to tournaments, do you have to be good at both, or is it are the tournaments just the one console?
No, they're both consoles, but like, what happens is that you qualify. So say if I qualify now, I'll be on Xbox, and then I won't play PlayStation until if I get to the final. Like me versus, I'm the Xbox champion, he'll be the PlayStation champion. It's not like you have to play on both consoles. While it's nice to know how to play on both, and there's plenty of people that don't know how to play on both, it's really just like you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, but I mean, cross console, that's another thing as well. Like it's an esport that's played on two consoles and also on PC, and now Nintendo Switch. Yeah. So
First time I hear that.
yeah. I
No.
actually saw a gameplay of that. It didn't look too bad, but anyway, that's beside the point. It's just it's so hard for them to make a perfect game for everyone. There's so many different people they're having to try and
So many
reach.
options.
Yeah, too many options, but only one real game mode that gives them all the money. But there's so many other people that don't play that game mode that they can't just like ditch every other game mode because then their sales will drop massively. But they can't put all their energy into updating those other game modes because then the Ultimate Team people will get really angry. So I don't envy their job at all. I wish them all the best in creating the perfect FIFA. I mean, maybe they do separate it into two games in the near future. But yeah, I don't know if they will. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess, perfection, the perfect FIFA game is not necessarily a realistic target because, as you say, there's so many kind of different types of target audiences, like demographics that you have to appeal to. The career mode fan and, yourself, Marcus, an Ultimate Team. So there's so many things that go into it. For me, it's more the offline, because I'm more into the offline modes. The gameplay style, and also it transfers to online a little bit as well. Like just the way you pass, like is the passing more potent than some other facets of the game. Like I remember one FIFA game which was quite disappointing for me. I don't know if it was FIFA 15 or FIFA 16, the one where they really diluted the pace of the game because pace became, as much as it was an enjoyment, it became an annoyance for some, but they really nerfed it down, and that got rid of my enjoyment.
Sounds like 15 to me, that one.
Yeah, I think it was 15, Lewis.
Yeah, and then 16, 17 were like relatively similar in terms of pace, and now it's kind of like it's really dumbed down. I understand what you mean regarding the pace, but I feel like bring back to the hard part. They're trying to create like an esport game from my side. That's like what I care about in a sense. But I also, it's weird. But as a pro, I care a lot about like that stuff you're talking about. Like I care about the visuals too. I care about how the game looks. Actions. I care about the stadium, the fans. Like I care about that stuff as well. Because before I used to play online, I played offline all the time. Career mode, be a pro was my one mode. I played all the time. I'd always be a pro and just put my player in multiple different clubs around the world and just pretend like that was me. Try to live out the dream. But that's what I care about that too. And just with the pace thing, I think they're trying to make it such a football simulator to real life. They want to make it look so realistic that when they show an ad for FIFA 19 or FIFA 20 or FIFA 21, wherever it is, and it's on TV or it's on YouTube, where people are like, oh man, it looks so realistic. Let me buy that. And like that wow factor almost. And I think coming with that, they had to slow down the pace of the game because pace was massive. If you didn't have pace in your team, you had to be an amazing player not to lose. Like that's the truth. Like you could just I mean, I understand what you're talking about, but I mean, for me personally, being a slower player, I like the pace being turned down. But I can see for quicker people that like to use pace, Yeah, it's a massive change. That's another thing though. Like they changed the game. Like I think the game's been out for like I don't know, a month and a bit now. There's been like 3 patches already, 3 gameplay patches. So the game changes like non-stop. Yeah, so like you started playing the game at the start and it was very attacking. It's online. That is very attacking, extremely hard to defend, extremely easy to score. And then they patched it about 2 to 3 weeks later and made it much easier to defend, but still easy to score. But obviously, with defending being easier, defending being easier, attacking was harder. And they patched it again and made it really easy to defend, which made it harder to score. So they've gone from like before at the start of the game, you used to get like no joke, like tennis scores. Like the scores would be like 6-4, 7-6. I kid you not. Like these like top players, like top pro players playing each other, 7-6. But and now you get like the classic back to FIFA 17 where it's like 1-0, 2-1. But the issue is that with attacking being much harder, it's just brought back the counter attack, which I'm sure Lewis would love, and I love it too. It's brought back the counter attack style because attacking is so hard, but defending so easy for some people. Defending still hard for some people, but like defending so much easier than it was before that you can just defend really, really well, and people get so annoyed because they can't score. They start bringing their team forward, and it's basically just like they'll have their CDM back and their 2 center backs, and maybe your fullback, but he'll be so wide that it doesn't matter. And you can just win the ball and just go boom, route 1, and have a 3v3 or 3v2 situation and score a goal, and then that's it. Like you can just lock it down. So that's the most frustrating thing right now. It's gone from such an open game to such a one guy usually has all the ball, usually the better player, but sometimes but usually the better player has all the ball, and then the lesser player will just defend for his life and then hope he gets lucky and scores. I mean that happens in real life though. So while I want to complain, if they're making a football simulator, maybe that's how they wanted to do it. You see a lot of teams in real life sit back 10 men behind the ball, and they'll get lucky because the other team has to push forward and try and score. So, it is what it is. Yeah.
For me, yeah. No, for me,
So
just amazing is Mike is like, he says now there are updates so often, which doesn't surprise me, right? But, and you adapt that quickly or you notice the changes because, I mean, at your level, how you say such close margins, I mean, an update like that could make you go either really, down or upwards. Downwards or upwards.
Yeah, no, the update's really hard. I mean, the update came out 1 or 2 days before the start of last week, which was the first week of qualifying. So, I mean, that was, I don't want to say it was really, really bad, but it was like close to disastrous because like, I don't want to like, I'm not going to like bash, I'm not going to like bash EA or anything, but like that was very, very interesting. I mean, like this is the start of the first big qualifying month for people, the first big tournament to qualify to potentially win. I'm not sure how much prize money for this tournament. I think it's like 30 grand. So it's this big stakes basically is what I'm saying. And we've already had a full month of foot champs. Yeah, we've already had a full month of foot champs, and they bring out the patch like 2 days beforehand. And I was like, oh my god! So you had to learn not a new game, but there's just things change. And the sad part is you don't learn about that until you're in the games that matter, because there's so much that changes behind the scenes that you don't know. And then
they don't announce those changes, do they? They just pop up.
Yeah. I mean, they're better now with the updates. Like they give you like more than they used before. Before it used to be like gameplay changes, and now it's like gameplay changes, and they'll say things that change, but there's always things that secretly change that they don't say. Like it's like, so probably the biggest one's the AI, because like they said gameplay changes. One of the things was passing was like not fixed, but I think the thing was they said effectiveness of off balance and 180-degree passes have been like reduced, because you used to be able to like if I'm trying to pass that way behind me, I could just like literally just like aim that way, and my guy would do like a 180 and just like put it like on the spot for the player, like just like every time. Like it doesn't matter if it's David Silva or it's like Fellaini, like it didn't matter who it was, it'd just be on the spot every time, more so or not. So they fixed that, which is true. I mean, it still happens, but it was way worse before. But then, like in the patch, they 100% upped the effectiveness of AR defending and holding holding R1 or right bumper on Xbox. So it's yeah, but like they don't say that in the patch. I'm not sure if they secretly do it and see if people notice, but the pro players notice real quickly because obviously they play so much of the game that they notice first, and then
you would tell
straight
away.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, the patches are hard to adjust to, but usually they release these 3 to 4 patches early on in the game, probably like 1 or 2 more before the end of the year, and then the game stays basically the same for the rest of the year, which is nice, because they don't change like a lot during like when the competitive scene really kicks up. Like the first tournament's in Feb, so it'd suck if they were changing stuff around then. It's good to kind of get it over with now. I wish they changed it during last month, not 2 days before qualifying. Yeah. Yeah,
so I'd assume,
crazy.
Marcus, when it comes to FIFA gaming, that keeping your emotions in check, and because there's like a human element to it as well. Some like a stereotype might be that it's just you clicking buttons and whatever. No, like there's a lot of emotion which goes into playing FIFA, or any game for that matter. Are you like a win at all costs person? Do you hate to lose, and therefore does that influence your style of game to get like an early start? Because if someone gets an early start, that might affect how you play. Like you might want to be more attacking, than that might leave you exposed. But if you're cool and calculated, you can adjust to the chaos, so to speak. But like I was just wondering if you think keeping your emotions in check is important when it comes to FIFA gaming.
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually, because I talk about it. I think it is important to keep emotions in check to a certain degree. I mean, it's good to celebrate, like, for example, very like important goals and stuff, because having that emotion like stuck inside of you can, like, for me personally, makes me like super like anxious. Like it's kind of like a release when you score a massive goal, and I'm talking like a goal, it's like with the game, like like that's what, like not when I score 20 minutes in the game and there's 70 minutes left against a top pro player. I'm not celebrating like I've won the game, but it's nice to have that little release, like that little come on, and then that's it, like it's done. Like it's not like a consistent. You're losing your mind. Oh my god, I've scored the winning goal. You run off and everything. But it's nice to have a little release for me personally, because the way I play is very controlled. So I'm always like extremely focused with and without the ball, but especially with the ball. So having the ball and starting like from deep, and the pressure starts from a minute, like with the keeper, and getting through all that pressure, and then like getting the end result, it's like a release. It's like, okay, I scored, sigh of relief, maybe a little like fist bump. That's it.
We can tell in your
obviously,
videos.
yeah. Obviously, there's like mental stuff to it. Like if you really wanted to get into your opponent's face and like just start like getting into their face, and so, you could do that, and maybe it would like tilt him, and you could win the game. But I mean, there's that kind of like competitive respect, and like the most people you play against, you're usually friends with, so that's kind of awkward if you start doing that to them. But it's different. It's different online, because you don't know who you're playing against. But when the guy is like right next to you or just opposite you, it's like, oh well, that's awkward, because I'm gonna like, if I win, I'm gonna like be talking to him like 5 minutes later, or like see him like in 20 minutes. So yeah, it's not really like you can't really be rude in a sense. You can if you want to, and it works. 100% works if you decide to like really try to annoy people. Because most guys that everyone gets annoyed in FIFA, like literally everyone, and no one likes being made fun of, and no one like no. So especially on a big stage when the pressure's high, the last thing you need to think in your head is like, oh man, this opponent I'm playing, he's an absolute like he's so annoying, like So I think it's important to keep your emotions in check. But you're right about it's hard once your opponent gets a lead on you, especially being a controlled kind of player.
First goal must be crucial.
Yeah,
First goal.
it's extreme. Yeah, first goal is critical. Now, actually, I'll use some experience. I'll talk about one of my sad experiences, unfortunately. But I at the FIWC, my first game against this guy called Lucas Rep, Brazilian pro player. he got the first goal on me in the 39th minute, I think, off a mistake from me. I was trying to clear the ball with Kante instead of pressing circle, which is just like shoot, like clearance. I was holding X or square, sorry, to charge it up. He stole the ball off me last second. I got too greedy with the with holding the square down. Instead of I went for full power, I should have just opted out at like half power and just chipped it up to like halfway. But I greeted for the full clearance. That can cost you games, and it cost me the game because he won the ball, passed into the middle, just top of the box to Pogba, or not top of the box, but like pretty far out, and Pogba just banged it in, and that was it. So that was the first goal of the tournament for him, first one I conceded, and then I was controlling that game, and he was playing a very aggressive yet counter-attacking style. But then after that, it was so hard for me to keep my head and stay composed because I was on the back foot, even though I wasn't. Mentally, I was very like, oh man, I'm losing. He's already got a goal. Like, what am I going to do? I need to score. And like, it's like the 50th minute in the second half, and I'm already thinking that stuff. And that's just me not being mentally strong enough when behind. So I had to get used to losing, which is like something you don't want to get used to.
No.
But I had to get, you have to learn to lose as well. You have to learn to be in a losing position in order to get into a winning position from that position. If I'm just constantly winning or constantly drawing and then I win, like I get a lead from the draw, then how will I learn when I go behind? And the truth is, like, I'm going to eventually go behind. Like, I'm not some unbelievable FIFA god that never concedes the first goal and always gets the first goal. Like, I'm going to eventually go behind in games. I need to learn to keep my cool. I wasn't getting angry. I was just very flustered, extremely flustered. Like, I was just like, I was not playing my game at all. I was starting to rush things and go back to my old, like, almost not previous style, but like my habits, my old habits, like almost my instinct to chase the ball like I would in real life. And while that works in certain parts, like the tactics that I had set up wasn't for that. It was for keeping the ball. So if I wanted to do that, I had to pause to switch tactics, but I was so flustered, I wouldn't pause. So yeah, the first goal is huge, as you were saying, and it works both ways for a control kind of player like me. If I get the first goal against someone, that's usually what happens to my opponent. They get extremely flustered because they don't have the ball, and more so frustration because they can't get the ball. And every time they get it, it goes out of bounds, or it's a foul, or I win it back straight away because like they're trying to rush. So that first goal is massive because that first goal doesn't always directly lead to a second goal straight away. But if you just stay calm and stay composed and do your thing as a control player, you can get the second goal. Like, yeah,
it just opens up the game a lot. Unless you're Man City and you can afford to score 4 goals in a game, but I'm sure that's not the case.
But like how the old school Barca played, especially as a Real Madrid fan, Lewis, when they got a goal up and they just knocked the ball around the back. They just knocked the ball around the back between the goalkeeper, the fullbacks, PK and Mascherano and Busquets, and that's all they would touch. They just knock it around, and Ronaldo and Bale and Benzema would try and press, but it wouldn't work, and then they'd just cut you apart once, and it'd be 2-0, and that's it. That's game over. Like, might as well just call it quits. The game where Iniesta had a man of the match performance recently, relatively recently. Yeah, it's stuff like that, but it works the other way because if Real Madrid score the first goal and like sit relatively deep and just break, Barca are flustered. So, see how it works both ways. Like it only really doesn't work when you play two people play a balanced style or both people play an aggressive style. I love when scores are actually 0-0 for a while because that first goal again it will open it up. It just has to. And on knockout games even more so, right? I mean. Because is it for you? I know you do the interactive World Cup, right? Like that's how you got through all this. Yeah.
Is it group stage format or knockout already?
Yeah, no, it's group stage. It's a group stage format. So it was groups of 8 at the FIWC. So it was top 4 advanced, bottom 4 kicked out. So if it was knockout of it straight away, that would be crazy. I would love that personally because it's just like if you're playing against a better player, you've got that one chance. All you need to do is win one game, and you're good. But having to play 7 games over the day, high pressure games, is like takes its toll. But yeah, it's group stage. I mean, I like it. Hope I can get back to that level and not make mistakes like I did with Kante. Just clear the ball first time.
You know, I would have done that. I'm sure most of us would have made that mistake. To be fair.
Yeah, no, it hurts to look back on it, but hey, stuff happens, man. You can't, it is what it is.
Oh yeah, split-second decisions, isn't it? You know, one decision here can lead to another result. But yeah, you know, these things happen, and it sounds like Marcus. Well, I know because I did some research before doing this. Like you're very analytical when it comes to analyzing FIFA games, and not just your own FIFA games, but of other players. Like just the intricacies when it comes to passing, and you know when to shoot and how to shoot. Just stuff like that, which I think would be incredibly important in the FIFA scene. Like you know, just with your analysis of detail there, the difference between pressing a button to make a full clearance or something to do, you know, a halfway clearance and get out of danger that way without being too greedy. I mean, that's a split-second decision there, but against the elite players, those are decisions where it can be not a life or death thing, but can give you so many lost opportunities if you don't lose. But on the other hand, it can give you more opportunities. But on the early start thing, like it can be the opposite as well. For instance, if you score the early goal, you can become complacent, and the other guy can be determined, but determined in a good way where they don't lose their formation, they don't lose their balance, they go back to what they were doing good. And I'd assume, Marcus, like if someone's had an early start on you, because generally, like you don't have to be modest about it. Clearly, you're one of the better FIFA players in the world, certainly in Australia. So say if someone does score an early goal against you, it's probably not a usual feeling. So would you, in a typical scenario, would you keep your kind of balance, or would you be tempted to change things up?
Depends when it happens.
Would you? Yeah. What's the scenario? Is it against like a average player, against a pretty good player online, or is it against a pro player? Because I think it depends.
Oh, okay. So, or give me compare the two. I'd be interested to know. Well, any two.
So against it depends how early I can see it, obviously. So if I can see it like straight away, I would have no idea how good they are, because like a lot of people are very good like from the start. Like when it comes to like some people have like set plays, so from the start they'll do certain passing and they'll just score. So if I can see it, say if I can see it straight away against ends up being an average player, but I don't know, I'll play the game out until the 10th minute mark, 50th minute mark, and just suss him out. You know, how's he playing? How's he defending? How's he play switching? Is he manually tackling me? Is he pressing me well? Is he casting lanes? And with the ball, like, is he passing well? How's his mechanics when it comes to skill moves? Does he do skill moves? Does he do intricate dribbling? Blah blah blah. Like there's a lot of things that I just noticed, but hard to explain now when I think about it. But yeah, it's stuff that like you can kind of tell when you're playing against a really good player, you know, or not. So if I realized he wasn't that good, I'd be like, okay, I've got to up the pressure a little bit, because if they've got a good lead and they realize that I'm the better player, they'll start to, the pressure gets to them a little bit. And what I want to be able to do is trap them in their own half, not necessarily go all out, just have so much of the ball that when I lose it in their final third, like he's pressed in and he's going to give me the ball away, whether it's clearing it. And eventually the pressure will mount, because some people are really good defenders, but pressure adds up. So that's what I do against a decent player. Against a good player, it's probably honestly just about not conceding another goal, not losing my head after conceding that first goal, because there was times this weekend league when I did go down early on, like between like the 20th and 30th minute, which is relatively early, and I'd be like, oh man, that's really bad because this guy's pretty good. Like, so for me personally, if I concede in the 30th or 40th minute, I will try and get a goal before halftime. So I will probably go like switch off defensive, which I would normally play, and go to balance or even attacking, and like team pressing and try to really press and get a goal back, because these thinking is most likely let's just hold out till halftime. So some guys like to go for second goal, but then it leaves the game open. And if I'm the better player, if I make mistakes, then I make mistakes, and that's part of the deal. But I can't be making mistakes when I'm already 1-0 down. I've already made one mistake clearly. So yeah, and then it gets a good player if he gets to 60th, 70th minute, even earlier, 50th to 60th minute, and I'm still losing 1-0. I'll pause and make changes. So if my opponent's playing, what's a good example? 4-2-3-1, same as me, which is what I play. And he's holding it down really well. He's got the back four plus his 2 DMs just sweeping the middle of the pitch. His front four ready to break. He's got his cam marking my DM so I can't build up from the back, like stuff like that. I'll either switch to a 3 at the back, a 3-5-2 to try and press up higher, or else we're just something super narrow. So if I win the ball back, I can just go route 1. That's super risky because against a good player, they should be able to keep the ball against you on the outsides. But you have to just up your aggression and you have to have extremely physical midfielders on the outside that can go inside and out and cover ground like crazy. So like I've got Pogba and Vidal, they can do that. But if you didn't have someone like that, it'd be really hard. So you have to be able to you have to gamble almost and just up your aggression, team press together, combination of using the second man press and manual pressing, and then try and get the goal back as soon as possible, because against a good player, once it hits the 70th to 80th minute, they'll, as a smart player will do, as a team in real life will do, they'll slow the play down, get some corners, pass around the back, even you can do whatever you want. I mean, one thing I've noted, like, if they're playing to win, just like I'm playing to win, if that's me, I'm doing that. So I'm not going to get angry if they do that. It's just, I've made the mistake early in the game, so I'm being punished now, So there's no point getting angry now. Oh, he's passing around the back, he's wasting time, because I do the exact same thing. So, yeah.
You can, but inside, you would be doing a professional player do the same thing. When you're down,
and it's such a waste of energy. Such a waste of energy to start getting angry at your opponent at that time. Like, you have to. It's hard to do, but you have to just put all your focus. Like, say if the ball goes out of bounds, and it's like it's like at your corner flag, defensive half, and it's like the 85th minute, and you're just like, internally you're angry, but you have to just get rid of all that anger and be like, okay, how am I going to score? What am I going to do? You just have to focus, just complete focus on the game, and just do your best to get a goal back. But it's harder against a pro player, because a pro player, they all know how to play with a lead, and a lot of them know how to keep a lead, like myself, and build that 2-0. But then a lot of them are really good at converting on me pressing up high to win the ball back, and making it nil. Like, I lost the game at FIWC, and it was like 4-0 in like the 60th minute, because I went 1-0 down in like the 10th minute, and then he was a very simple play to me, and I tried to press back and win the ball back. And what he ended up doing was changing from a slow play style to a direct style about 30 minutes in. Just didn't pause, just change his style. Just, that's on the go. That's how good he was. He ended up finishing 4th on the PlayStation side, I think. But anyway, he just changed his style on the go. Instead of just passing around, he'd pass around a little bit at the back, and I'd be trying to press him, and he'd just go boom, and just like 1, 2, 3 passes. That's it, and he's he's close to on goal or down the line. So, it kept me honest the whole time, because I could only press him so much, because then I'd leave my whole backline exposed. And if I lost the 1-on-1 duel with his Ronaldo, Suarez, Messi, that's it. I'm going to concede. So, and if I didn't press him, I wasn't getting the ball back. So it was like such a hard situation. And he knows that, because he knows if I got the lead, I'd be doing the exact same thing as him. So that's why the first goal is massive against a pro player. It is just like the biggest thing, like, because of how the game is and how wasting time is. You get the first game goal in real life in the 30th minute, you've got 70 real life minutes of football left. On FIFA, you have like not even like 10 minutes, 6.5. You got like 8-9 minutes left. So you can waste a lot of time. 8 to 9 minutes. It's not hard at all if you learn. So I change tactics definitely against the pro player. To answer your question, Jono, definitely, like, if I'd have to, because staying in the same formation, unless I got super lucky or they make a mistake, which they don't, A lot of them don't. Yeah, but against a lesser player, I'll stick to my style and hope that my individual skill comes out on top. But there's times where you have to pause and change. But as I said before, it's really risky to pause the game, because sometimes your opponent's not thinking about pausing. But as soon as you pause, he's like, "Oh man, okay, I might as well make changes too." I've had a game this weekend where I was winning. No, I was losing 1-0, and I brought it back to 1-1 in the 75th minute, and then I paused to switch off my super attacking formation that I switched to. I think I was playing 3-4-2-1, Arsenal-esque style. Like I had the wide forwards coming in, the wide midfielders were pressed up. It was literally just a back three on their own, just trying to hold their own. So I scored, then I paused to switch back to my normal 4-2-3-1, and he switched to a 5-3-2 because I was just so on top of him that he's like, okay, let me just hold this out until extra time and then maybe hit him on the break or go to penalties. So that made the game much harder. I'm sure if I didn't pause, I had so much pressure in him already that I probably would have scored again, but the game ended up going to extra time and they end up just scoring near the end. But that's one of those split-second decisions that, do I pause, do I don't pause? And you got to be careful because you only have 3 pauses as well. So
yeah, I was going to say
I already used one. That was my second pause. And then if I don't score before the 90th, I've got another break. But like, there's not enough time to change. There's close to enough time, but not enough to change your stuff and then check what he's doing at the same time in the play ratings. Yeah. It's like, it's very hard if you want to get your custom tactics down, your play instructions down, your subs on, your players in the right position. You want to change formation, and then you want to go to check your player, what your opponent's doing in the play ratings, and then you go back and change your stuff. Like, you can't do it all in 40 seconds unless you're some absolute god at it. I'm not a god at it. I'm good at it, but I'm not like I know exactly what I'm doing as soon as the full-time whistle goes. So yeah, I had to be careful with my pauses too, because if I went down extra time, he wasn't pausing for me, so I would have had to pause. So I was like, okay, I won't pause. But yeah, looking back, I should have. But yeah, it's a lot of detail when you think about it. I mean, people don't think about it that way, but there's a lot of mind games to it. Sort of like in terms of changing tactics and so on. But I mean, that's a good thing though, because it's almost a good thing to lose sometimes. Not lose, but to go down to certain people. Like I went down to some guy playing 3-5-2 this weekend. I went out 1-0 up, and I just couldn't get the ball off him, or press him. So I switched to 3-5-2 as well, and then that allowed me to learn the formation while I was playing, and ended up winning the game just by matching him. But I was like, oh wow, so 3-5-2 really works. So next time I play against 3-5-2, I'll pause the game and switch to that and match it. So I learned that this week. So I got lucky because I didn't lose the game. But I mean, yeah, yeah.
So with your 4-2-3-1 narrow that you tend to go to, with the number 10, do you, with the play instructions, do you like it to be kind of, a free roam, or not just a number 10, but say with your wingers, you can cut inside as well? You have the option for pretty much any formation, really. What are your designated player instructions that go along with your 4-2-3-1?
So it's funny you bring that up, like, because they're very default. I leave the back line how it is. So I've actually got FIFA here right now. It's got obviously stay back on the centre backs, and I leave the full backs on balance. I've got Alaba and Valencia, so they both have high attacking, medium defensive. I think Valencia has high work rates actually. Yeah. So I know Valencia's going to be a bit more of the defensive side and tracking back, whereas Alaba's a bit more attacking. So with the way my team sets up, I have Vidal on the left-hand side. I've left CDM. So when Alba pushes up, Vidal can come in and kind of just like not play left back, but just hold that spot almost. And what ends up happening a lot of the time is that Alba will push up, Vidal will slot in around left back, more so like a left centre back-ish role. And as Alba's tracking back, he'll sit in the DM spot until I win the ball back, which works perfectly for me. Whereas on the right side, I've got Pogba and Valencia. So Valencia does a lot of the hard running, whereas I kind of let Pogba just do his thing. The 2 DMs, I leave straight normal. I used to put them on cut passing lanes and stay back. But Vidal has high work rate, so I'm confident he'll come back, and Pogba's such a physical monster that I can run him back myself, which is what I do. I let I let Vidal run back by himself because he's got the high defensive work rate. He will run back, and I run back with Pogba when I need to. Yeah, but I leave them unbalanced. I definitely either because sometimes you need a man mark, you need to track your man. You can't just always cut the passing lane because if you miss the ball, I mean, I would have preferred Pogba to be chasing down, say, my opponent's Eriksen rather than just trying to cut the passing lane because in a one-on-one battle, he'll win the physical battle. Obviously, there's certain situations where it's like, oh man, like Messi's just going to run past both those guys. Maybe it's better to cut the passing lane. You can't always man mark someone that's just quicker than you or stronger than you. Like say if my opponent had Ibra at Cam, but so that depends. But I usually leave it on balance because I don't want, for example, if my opponent's about to play a pass, I don't want my Pogba moving towards the ball to try and intercept it when I'm trying to cover a run by myself because that little step that he'll make because the AI can cost me tracking that run. And at the same time, I don't want him tracking the run when I'm trying to intercept the ball. I just want him to just be there and let me do the defending, let me control it and move the player. So that's why I leave him unbalanced. And then the cams, this is the interesting ones. I've tried free roam on all three. I've tried free roam on the middle one. I've tried free roam on the outside too. I like free roam in all three, but it's tough. They can get so close to each other, and during the overlapping period, when they're moving positions, like like they would, if you lose the ball during that, it really sucks because your opponent can burst in line with their fullbacks, and you just have no one there. Like while you're playing 4-2-3 on narrow, the wingers almost like wide attacking mids are still pretty wide. But if you lose the ball when they're coming inside and stuff like that, and you've got like 1, 2, 3 cams, and you lose the ball to a DM, and they can play a diagonal pass out to either the fullbacks, like you're so exposed. So right now I have it on balance, organized. Sorry, all three of them. But I want to master free roam. I'm not going to do it this month because there's too much on the line. I will try and master free roam in December. And then I do have get in the box for crosses though for the cams because with how effective low driven passes are at the edge of the box, you get down the line and you just just put it on the ground as hard as possible. I want my guys being there for the tap in, and also I've got Bale and Suarez drops the cam, like they're not small, they're big, so I want them in the box. So if I'm playing against someone who's using who's a good example? Kante at CDM and Suarez at Cam. I'm confident Suarez is going to win that. But probably the biggest one is when I'm playing Bale on the left. And then I'm playing against a small-ish fullback, whether it's like Aurier, Bellerin, Carvajal, sorry, Lewis. Anyone,
I was going to say Bellerin,
anyone small besides really Kyle Walker and Valencia. But even then, he beats those two. I want Bale there because if I'm really struggling, I'll whip a ball in back post. I'll cross it in back post. One of my favorite things to do in real life is cross the ball. And I love doing it on FIFA. I'm just not that good at it, unfortunately. You need a lot of practice to get good at crossing. So you get to really master it, not just put it into the keeper's hands every single time, like I seem to be doing at the moment. I need to put some serious time into that in like during the weeks. But yeah,
What about defending them? Because I love every part of defending, right? But some people hate defending crosses. Like they get really nervous defending those.
Yeah. Because like it's not just
they
about
think it's the most. Yeah, they think it's the most unfair way of.
They think it's like some certain things like you just whip the ball in the box and you just hope. It's like, well, whipping the ball in the box is one of the most common ways people score in real life. Like I'm not sure people have watched enough football. But the amount of goals that are scored from just whipping the ball in the box, the defender makes a mistake and it hits the ground, and like say if Lukaku just smacks him with his left foot, like that's how goals are scored because it puts defenders under pressure. And only the best defenders in the world consistently clear the ball with their head or like consistently clear it into good spots. The thing with FIFA, you're controlling the player, so your Ramos isn't just going to like auto clear it for you. Like you're gonna have to do it yourself. So if you decide to header it at the top of the box and you concede, that's your fault, mate. Like you should have just headed it out of bounds. But I love crossing. I think like not just like getting that line and whipping. I love doing what's it called, like reverse crosses, like cutting inside and like say Bale's like on the right, cutting inside and whipping a ball in back post. it's such a satisfying thing, because for me personally, crossing the ball in real life is such a underrated skill. Because there's not that many good headers of the ball.
Yeah, they think it's just sweeping it in, and guys like De Bruyne, they know where to put it.
Yeah, De Bruyne is such a good cross of the ball. It's like unbelievable. And like stuff like that, you will never see it in FIFA. You'll see it once in a blue moon when you play against someone, but you'll never see it because most guys will cut back or fake shot and cut back or pass or just run down the line and smack it us low hard in the box. Like no one will cross it. So that's why no one really expects it, and they don't respect you when you have the ball with Bale and you're like cutting inside. Like, oh well, he can't finesse shot from here, so I'm just gonna back off, but I'll just loop it. Like back post to Ronaldo, and then I think one of the goals I scored this weekend was I switched Bale. Bale usually plays on the left, and then Hernandez usually plays on the right attacking mid. This is Luis Hernandez, by the way, like the icon card.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I switched them, and then I got Bale to cut inside, and then my opponent wasn't respecting me at all when it came to cut inside. I wasn't going to score a finesse shot. I was really far away. I was like top of the box on the edge. Like there was no way I was scoring a finesse shot. Maybe like old school FIFA I was, but not this FIFA.
Yeah, FIFA.
And I just whipped it in. Yeah. I'm bagging that in. That's a goal. I'm whipping it in back post, and then Ronaldo peels off his man like he would in real life, and I just headed it down, like squared it to Suarez, and Suarez came in, scored, and that's how I won the game. And then like I didn't get a message, but I'm like, oh, this guy sent me a message like, oh wow, you score off a sweaty cross like that. And for me, that was such a beautiful goal. But people just don't see it that way. People think like a passing. People think the only nice goals are like long shots, skill runs, and like first time tiki taka montages from like the back line. Like that's not the only way of scoring goals.
And one touch FIFA.
Yeah,
you could look at it and think that's another kind of disgusting way to score because, like it's not easy to defend at all. One tap.
No. Yeah, and I think crossing is just like, because people think, oh, if you cross it, they have to header it and score. Like no. Like, I don't score a lot of volleys, but so many times like I'll cross the ball and just create like havoc. I'll cross the ball and the opponent will header it out, perfect clearance in the centre back, but it falls top of the box. Pogba's there, boom, I score. It's like it doesn't always have to be like every attack. I've learned this the hard way. The Europeans like to attack. By Europeans, I mean mostly French players and sometimes German, but mostly French players like to attack. And every attack they have, they won't fully attack until they know they'll basically have like a 99% chance of scoring. Like they'll keep passing it until they'll literally tap the ball in the net. It's a very like calculated way of playing FIFA. I played that.
Wow, so different countries in esports tend to have their own tendencies when it comes to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I never really considered it. So what are some other countries that might have like a unique solid play that you played? So you mentioned France there.
Yeah, so I'll start with my personal experience and the ones that I know because I've watched them and I've played them. So Brazilians, I played against two Brazilians at FIWC. They both played 4-3-3. Obviously, like this most Brazilian formation like ever, really. Like obviously Spain used that as well. Portugal, like old school Portugal. 4-3-3. The best players are usually the attacking front three. The wingers are usually the best players on the whole team. So they both used 4-3-3, and they were super attacking, fast-paced style, always attacking, always trying to score goals. And then the French player I played against used 4-2-3-1, same as me, but extreme possession, like short time, first time touches, passing. Like I think the most passes in his team was from his centre backs and his DMs and his fullbacks. No, not like getting angry. It's just like just how he played. Like a lot of teams play like that in real life. So, it was extremely hard to get the ball off him. And every time he had a chance, he scored. I lost the game 3-2, and I think he had 4 shots on target. So that's because every time he had a chance, he was literally like in my box. Like that's it, and then he'd shoot and he'd score. So like it's such a calculated way of playing. And then that's how pretty much every French player plays. Actually, yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then I played against 2 German players. And this is where you get the difference. The German players, just like in real life, are very balanced. While they keep possession very well, they know how to break and they know how to defend well. Germans just know how to do everything when it comes to playing football. So, the 2 Germans I played against, the first one was a super aggressive like attacker. And the second one I played was like the French player, but not to that extreme. He still had the other style of attacking. And then lastly, I played against a Russian player, and he was exactly like the French player, but he just didn't keep position as well. But he was like that. And then the English players play very attacking, classic English players, very attacking, aggressive. A couple of them even run 4-4-2, which is something you don't see in FIFA at all because people are just so obsessed with the midfield. Just like in real life, you never see the 4-4-2 anymore. Besides Atletico, Leicester, I think Portugal, yeah. Like you don't see 4-4-2. And when you see 4-4-2, they don't keep the ball in a 4-4-2. These guys don't keep the ball, but they attack like crazy in a 4-4-2. Like it's high pressing. It's like if you got a goal kick, the two strikers watching the two centre backs, the two wingers are up at the fullbacks. Their two fullbacks are up at the wingers. Like the two centre mids are up at the two centre mids. Like they're on them, like straight on them. And it's the English way. It's how we're taught to play football here as well. That's how I play in real life. Like I'll press, win the ball back, attack, get down the line, put a good cross into the box, or put it in, fizz the ball in the box, or shoot from outside the box. Like get the ball, bang it, test the keeper. So yeah, I mean, the guy who won was English, and he plays like that. Bit more like narrow, but like less of the wide stuff. But yeah, and then what other country? And then yeah, you got American players, North American players specifically, play very like the English, but extremely like what's the word? Aggressive when it comes to defense. It's like, yeah, give me the ball, like now. Like they will hunt you down in packs. Sometimes the English just sit back and like are happy to not have possession. The NA guys will hunt down the player, try to win the ball back as soon as possible, and one thing NA players are known for are scoring long shots. They will bang long shots in all the time. Like it's just a North American thing. Like they just know when to hit the long shots. Like it's a skill because of NA that you just learn. It's like if you're a French player, some people keep possession. You learn to keep possession because you play against so many of them. And the South American players, for the most part, they all different. I've got the Brazilians are very attacking. Couple of Colombian players attacking, but like a bit of everything. Same with me, like an Australian player and like Japanese player and a guy from Hong Kong. Just bit of everything. We kind of just learn everything from the EU guys and the NA guys and just learn from them. So yeah, it's crazy how they all have different styles of play. It's just like real life. Spanish players that I've seen play, oh man, like have fun getting the ball off them. So it's just like real life.
Yeah,
a lot of the Spanish. Yeah,
I'm the exception. Totally, I'm not not a possession guy, but I assume that would be the case, Marcus. I mean, that's happened a lot because of our 2010 World Cup team, the few Euros. It was always going to happen, right? But I just love counter-attacking, not into the exception.
And I love that. Yeah, I think it's best to know all styles, but if you can master one or two, especially when it comes to attacking at speed and then like holding possession, you can just dominate. But yeah, it's crazy how there's different styles all around the world. Australia doesn't really have their own style yet. I'd say it's very much whatever works best in the game and whatever the EU guys are doing.
Yeah.
The Australian guys do.
That kind of happens in real life, though, doesn't it?
It's true though. It's true. Yeah. You got Ange rocking the three at the back now, mate. He would never do that. But like now, it's like you got every team in the whole world. Not every team in the whole world, but you got so many teams in the world willing to switch to three at the back when it's needed to. Unfortunately, we play a lot of three at the back here, but that's another topic. But it's crazy. I mean, you got to see what the other players are using around the world, see what the best players are using, try it out, you like it. That's how it works over here. No one really creates the meta over here. It's all made over there.
Yeah. Is there a concern though, Marcus, given that like you're a really high key player now in the eSports stakes, that people will study you, find out what you do well, similar to how say you would to other great FIFA players such as yourself, and in a way they might not figure you out, but figure a few tendencies out, and then you'll need to change your own play there's always that element of danger. Or do you see that as an opportunity, or have you thought of that?
No, that's a really good question. That's something that I've thought out a lot, because before I was signed by Melbourne City, I was definitely a very what's the word? I wouldn't say like shifty, but I'd say like I wanted to have the edge on my opponent. So if I could keep all my stuff hidden, the gameplay, everything hidden, and watch other people, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I've got the advantage on people. So whether people made YouTube videos or live streamed or did whatever, like I didn't want any of my stuff to be out there to give me the biggest advantage possible. Obviously now it's pretty much impossible to do that because Ultimate Team, they have a new mode called Champions Channel. Basically what it is that you can watch any of the not any of the games, but you can watch replays of the top players in the world. So they'll have the replays of all the people in the top 100. So I'm in there right now. Then they'll have the leaderboards, replays for all the people in the top 100 of Americas, Europe, and the rest of the world. So I'm in the rest of the world one as well. So if people want to watch my replays, and the games count unless someone rage quits, people want to watch my replays, they're there. So I can't hide anything now. Like it's all there. So what it's doing is making me a better player, because I do one thing, like say I do a corner technique where I take it short and then smack at the top of the box. I started noticing this week against people that I played against previously, they marked it straight away because they knew that what I did because they watched my games back. So I've had to switch it up and I've had to do different stuff. I've had to learn different techniques. I've had to, because it's crazy, but they've literally, just like in real life, like been like a scout, watched my gameplay, worked me out what I do at certain things. Because obviously no one has all the time in the world to literally watch through like 40 games of one person's gameplay. Like you got to have a lot of time on your hands to do that, and a lot of dedication as well, just to watch one player.
That's the funny thing about all these. They figure it out.
Yeah. But like it's ordered by the best game. Like so, it's like the first game will be my best game against the highest ranked player I played against, and most people watch that. So that's where you obviously get the best gameplay, because I'm playing against the best player I played against all weekend. So people will watch it, they'll work it out, and it's not a worry. It's a slight concern, but everyone else is going through it. That I've got to adapt to it. Initially, I was like, oh man, that really sucks, because all it does is reduce the gap. Like while I'm getting better at the game, I've hit such a level that it's hard to get like a lot better compared to people that are maybe lower. It's very easy to jump between here to here than it is for me to jump from here to like the top level. So this Foot Champions channel helps people really close the gap, which has made me initially get a little annoyed and stay around here, but now I'm starting to get slowly better, because I'm like, okay, if I don't get better, I'm not gonna be better than these people, and I won't win enough games. So it's kind of it's forced me to get better. It's forced me to watch other people's games even more than I used to. It's forced me to learn different techniques, try different stuff out in like in the arena, in practice games. Because if I don't, people watch my games and people see what I do. So without that inclusion into FIFA Ultimate Team, I would have been I would probably be doing the same stuff that I was still doing last year, because unless you watch my VODs back from tournaments, there'll be no other way to find my gameplay. So now everyone's gameplay is available to everyone, so there's no hiding now.
Yeah, but I suppose that's like a huge opportunity as well, because like you get so many fans from that, like your videos being publicly available. The exposure sense outweighs the secrecy of playing styles being revealed. It's just the reality of things getting bigger and more professional with the esports gaming as well. I think it's brilliant. I loved seeing you play, and like for instance, like I actually meant the stuff like I was saying, like some of the stuff you were doing really inspired me to. Because before this FIFA, I wasn't really that big into skills. I didn't really have the dedication to learn them. I tried one or two skills, didn't put the time into them. But you have to actually learn a few skills before, like you said, like there's progressions to FIFA gaming. And I think, you have to adjust accordingly depending on what level you're at. And I think that's something you've done really well. One of the things, Marcus, in Australia is that we don't have the best internet. So the Wi-Fi is often quite slow in comparison to other countries such as Spain with Luis Andres Marino there, as he can attest to. Have you found difficulties in that regard with Wi-Fi connection in comparison to other countries when playing
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, as you said, keep it like don't want to be too negative, but Wi-Fi here really sucks. Like that's the truth. Internet speeds really sucks. I mean, my current internet, I live in relatively suburban Melbourne. My internet speed, I get close to 5 download, close to, not on 5 download, but close to 5 download. That's on a good day. And I don't even get 1 upload. Like I probably get 0.8 or 0.9 upload. So when it comes to playing games, when it comes to play-to-play connection, play-to-play connection in seasons, Ultimate Team seasons, my connection is really, really bad. Same with playing friendly seasons. My connection can be bad, but obviously it's balanced between both of us. So if I'm hosting the game, it's okay. But if I am and I have to connect to my opponent, it's terrible. So I can only really play home games now, which makes finding games take a long time, and it's annoying for people too. I don't like doing it because they see me backing out every time I'm away, and then when I'm home, I'm playing. So, but I will play in a super laggy game, and then funny you bring up the internet thing is now I'll show it here, but I actually play on 4G now. I have to because my internet is so. I don't say garbage, but it's so bad, and the bandwidth is terrible. That's probably the biggest part. The bandwidth's terrible. So when I'm using it, and then when one or two other people are using it, it's shocking. It's borderline. I'm going to disconnect from the game. It will start lagging. I haven't found really any good bandwidth applies to my internet, and for what I've heard from Telstra and other people, that they don't really do much anyway, and just a lot of money for nothing. So I play on 4G right now. I'm not sure if you can see that. I play on 4G. It's a thing from Telstra. Gives me 80 gig a month. Speeds are pretty good. It's 40 download, 20 something upload. But obviously it's 4G, so the actual stability of the connection isn't that good. So sometimes it's really good. Most times it's really good. Sometimes it's pretty iffy. But I'm able to connect a LAN cable from that to here, and it's not too bad. And then probably the most important part of all that, though, is that because of how the Foot Champions game mode works, you actually connect to a server. So it's to stop people from DDoSing people and kicking people offline and essentially cheating. So you both connect to a server. So to my knowledge, the main server here is in Sydney. I'm pretty sure. So I connect to the server in Sydney. My opponent connects to the server in Sydney. They can be anywhere across Australia / New Zealand is where I also play against people. Most of the Australians I play against are from Adelaide, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and New Zealand. I don't really play against people from Perth. And you get some people against Asia, some people in Asia, but not really. Yeah. Anyway. The connection is good to the server, but yeah, play-to-play connection is not good. So thank God the connection's to the server. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be a pro player if there was a play-to-play connection, because my internet here is so bad that it'd be luck of the draw, really. And some people have NBN. I don't have NBN. I'm not getting NBN until 2019. So.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that actually. I don't have it either, but the National Broadband Network is, whilst not as fast as other countries, is definitely an upgrade on, what some have now. Some already have it in Australia or in Melbourne.
Yeah.
I'm one of those still waiting as well. I'm with Marcus, but on that, because my internet here is not that good. For instance, this Google Hangout, I'm actually using my hotspot from my mobile to conduct it.
Come over.
Yeah, because before Lewis and I used to do some of these, and I used to rely on just the internet server itself wasn't good enough. It was just too laggy. Whereas this is more it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what we had before, and I'm sure Lewis will agree with that.
Yeah, it's improved.
Yeah, it's
You
just
can
like
come over.
I
That's
wish
another option.
I wish the internet was better because it makes online gaming, or just not just online gaming, but anything to do with online, whether it's YouTube, streaming, anything, and playing games online, just makes it harder than it already is. Like, if your connection's not good to the server, and then you have bad internet, like, you can't compete at the top level if you got bad internet in an online game. It's just the truth. Like, I don't care how good you are, if you're lagging behind your opponent, you've got no hope, man. So yeah. I mean, I'm just waiting for NBN. That's gonna be the greatest. I mean, could be the greatest mode of my life, because if it's not as fast as I hope it is, then that's really gonna suck. But I'm looking forward to it. 2019, the year.
That's the year.
That's the year. 2019, man.
Bring your consoles over, Marcus.
Lewis? What's your internet speed? If you don't mind me asking.
It's like insane, dude. We don't even have I remember when I was there was a limit, because you say 80 gigabytes, right? Here, there's no limit.
No. But that's just for this. Like, for my home internet, I have like 500 gig, but the actual speed on my home internet is so like slow that you'll never get through 500 gig because it's so slow. It's literally impossible to use that much.
I remember while I was living there, right? There was like the speed problem, and also the amount of devices connected that really stuffed it up as well. There's just zero problems with all that. But I mean, I'm sure it'll come eventually. It's just you guys are so isolated. That's the only problem. Well, problem. It's like beneficial and problematic both ways of looking at it. But
I agree. And then but the device connection part is a super big issue, because like when I used to play on Wi-Fi, nothing else could be connected to the Wi-Fi. Like, it had to just be not even like connected but not using it. Nothing else could be connected to the Wi-Fi, because it just starts slowing down. Like, it's really just not good. It makes me sad to talk about it, just how slow our internet is, because whenever I'm not using my 4G, like Johnny is right now, it's just slow. It's just slow. But I watch my YouTube videos on 360. When I was in Europe, and every video was loading at 1080, I was so confused. How it was instantly loading at 1080. Like, the default was 1080. I'm like, wait, what is going on? Like, what's this quality? I kid you not. I wasn't used to it at all. I'm just so used to 360. Sometimes 480 if my internet's pushing it, but yeah, that's it. 720. You put 720 there and go do something for 5 minutes, and maybe come back and watch like half of like a 10-minute video, maybe.
Oh, that's funny.
It's so sad, man. It's so sad. How am I supposed to live? How am I supposed to live on the internet? When I can't even go? Yeah, and like, that's another thing. I can't really stream unless I use this, but I also play off this. So streaming and playing off this just chews up a bunch of data. And this needs to last the whole month, and it takes about 25 gig to play each week. But luckily, it resets on the 20, like, before the last week starts of the month. So I play 4 weekends a month. So I use the 380 gig in 3 weekends, and then it resets, and then I can play the 4th weekend. So that's lucky in a sense. But yeah, I can't stream, which is like a big issue. People that stream here have NBN. So otherwise you'd be seeing me on Twitch. Yeah, you'd be seeing me on Twitch streaming, but I literally can't do it unless I go somewhere else and stream. But then it's like,
come over.
It's not worth the time and like the money to go somewhere else and stream. It's not like I'm gonna be streaming and just earning like massive amounts of ad revenue. Like, it's not gonna, the balance isn't gonna work out. I'm eventually just gonna be like, okay, I'm dumping a lot of money to stream somewhere else when I can't stream at home, and I pay for my own internet. That's supposed to be anyway. That's another story. It's frustrating. I've talked to Telstra about this multiple times. It's done. I'm waiting till 2019.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge thing for online gaming. Like, I can attest to that. Lewis can attest to that, being in Australia. Like, the Wi-Fi comparison in other countries is woeful, really. And it provides, a real advantage. And that's another like key thing that you're doing really well, Marcus, despite, the Wi-Fi issues that, Australia encounters, because it's such a massive roadblock. But I guess one of the beauties about esports is that, whilst you can play online, so from one house to another, you can meet up in a designated spot if it's like a huge event. And so the connection's not a factor because everyone's on the same playing field there. So was it really different to play, in like a huge esports environment? I believe you went to London to play like esports there, FIFA, as opposed to playing at home, or was it similar?
It was definitely very different. It was very different because when you're at home and you're in your own comfort of your own home, you're just so familiar with your setup and how things are. Being at a just different environment, different chair, different monitor, different angle where the monitor, how the monitor is. Like a funny but weird thing. Like I sit on a cushion, just because that's because I sit here a lot of the time, so it's more for comfort. But I didn't have a cushion there, and it just felt weird. Like it wasn't like an excuse. It's just like I'm like, this isn't as comfortable as usual. Oh, that's right, I don't have a cushion. Like it was just weird, And but the weirdest parts were like how the angle of the screen was to me. It was a little lower than so I usually sit at like eye level, so I like to sit up like straight and play, but the screen was like a little lower, so I had to like lean forward just a little bit, just like so I could see over the screen and like kind of like see over the screen. That's how I like to play. Because I'm a possession player, I use the co-op camera angle, super zoomed out, so I can't sit super far back, otherwise I literally can't see the pixels. So I have to be like relatively close, but I didn't like how I was angled, because I felt like I was just like in a slant position already, and I was kind of too engrossed into certain aspects of the game and not the full game when I'm sitting back. That's a weird thing, but it's just like it's a little thing that isn't like at home. And then the major part was the sound. They give you like noise isolating earphones, which aren't these ones. There's over there somewhere, but and then you can you listen to music, or you just have them on. You can have the game sound. You can have no game sound, just the noise isolating like static. But that's weird. But yeah, you can still hear people though. Like straight up, like if you're behind me, I can hear you. Like when you're saying like yelling stuff. Not like when you're talking, but when you're yelling stuff, I can hear you. So on other people's side celebrating, I could hear them. So being in that it was like a circle. It was like a diamond like area. Very like high pressure. The atmosphere was just like intense, extremely. Everyone was extremely intense, and just like understandably so, but. It was just so much different to being at home, where it's relaxed and you can just sit back a little bit and like not chill out, but just be as comfortable as you want. And plus you're on camera as well, so there's a lot of stuff you can't do. You can't be like rubbing. You can't be like picking your nose or anything like that. You can't be I don't know, eating. That's what we can't be. I don't know why
you
you'd be
swear?
eating, but
No, you can't swear, can you?
Yeah, they're like, please don't swear, but like we understand if you do. But please don't swear. And they said if you swear, like give us a warning, so like when you're on stream we can like bleep it out. So
give us a warning. That would come out so natural.
I
Silly.
I didn't start swearing until a couple of the games, but I didn't swear loud. I just I kind of just turned it to myself and just went and say what I need to say, but I wouldn't yell like crazy. Some guys did get pretty angry, but no one was really like crazy, like swearer, because so much energy of your energy is going to the game already. You don't want to waste more energy just yelling out like random stuff. That's the truth. Like you have to play 7 games in one day, 7 high intensity games. You don't have to be sitting there and swearing your head off. It's just because you're going to be like, you just run out of energy straight up. What else couldn't you do? That was really weird. It's so much different. It's so much the lighting, it was like the screens were super bright because the whole area was super bright, so the screens couldn't be dark. So I like to have my screen setting on like pretty low to rest my eyes. So when I'm focusing the whole game, my eyes don't get super sore. Because that is one thing that has started happening because of how much games I'm playing. My eyes do get sore. It's like anyone that looks at screens. So like I remember the last seventh game, my eyes were like starting to like water up, like because I was staring so hard. So I'm gonna have to look into some gaming glasses. I mean, they're not gonna look the greatest, but it's not about the look; it's about the performance, I guess. And then yeah, it's just like the biggest part was just how the monitor was set up. The chair was completely different. It was nice. It was a nice gaming chair, but I mean, this is stuff that everyone has to adjust to. And I think everyone did adjust to it pretty well. Like, I adjusted pretty well. Everyone else did, but it's different. It's very different. Probably the most the hardest part is that people are watching both there and at home. People are right behind you watching. I had my on and off like boss behind me watching me. I know my friends and family are at home watching, so the pressure's on. So at home, it's not like that. It's like it's just me versus the game, or me versus the opponent and the game. There, it's a lot of other factors.
But some people thrive under that pressure. So they get being under the I don't know, the quote unquote bright lights, kind of fires them up, sparks them to even greater heights. So do you prefer that kind of? Well, you've kind of already said that you kind of there are differences between being at home and playing under that environment. I assume that because it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but in London, that was a huge event. That would have been your first time going, right? Yeah. So that will hold you in good stead for the next one. With all the experience you have gathered, it's invaluable because that's also what separates, really good elite players from each other is the experience, that clearance, whether I should do it halfway or the full way, as you were talking about before. So just those little things play a major key, as does the yearly release, because the yearly release means that you can't necessarily specialize in a FIFA for like 3 years. So there's always these subtle changes which influence the way the game plays. Did it take you a while to get used to the transition from FIFA 17 to 18?
To be honest, no, because the game is, while different in certain aspects, very similar. Compared like this, if you comparing the speed to previous like models before 17 and 16 and like kind of 15, like the speed is reduced. Touches are more realistic and slow. What else? Passing is like important. Defending, being able to defend is super important. But it didn't take me that long to adjust. But probably because I was on Xbox, PlayStation last year, but Xbox now. I have got early access, so I was playing the game on the 21st of September. So I was playing it super early. Release was on the 29th, and then pre-order was 26th. So I had 5 days before people got it. So I played a lot of the game. I was actually in Brussels at a boot camp at the Epsilon Gaming House. It was pretty nice, and I played non-stop. I think in those 5 days, I played nearly like close to like 30 to 40 games a day.
Jesus.
So,
wow.
My eyes were burning. I'm not even kidding you. Guy, like on the plane back, that was the nicest like rest of my eyes on the plane back I've ever had.
Isn't that a bit of a like concern for you, that, or?
Yeah, no. I mean, like, it wasn't good for my health at all. Like, I was feeling super run down. I was hardly sleeping, like 4 to 5 hours maybe. But like, it wasn't like a training regime or anything. It was like literally my personal choice. By personal choice, more of like an addiction to the game. And it's just like I shouldn't have played that much looking back, because a lot of the games I did actually lose were just based off fatigue, straight up fatigue. But I just wanted to play so much and grind the game so much while I was in Europe and had the better internet and the better server connection and playing against better players. I was like, okay, I need to make the most of this, because I only got 5 days here, so I need to play as much as possible. So yeah, I mean, looking back, I should have just like played like normal hours, like just played like, 10 a.m. to like 10 p.m. Like not like ridiculous hours I was playing. I was going to bed at like 3 a.m., waking up at like 6:30, playing the whole time,
You
like
can have
non-stop.
you can
Yeah.
have a permanent residence in Madrid, Marcus. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, but it's just like that. That's why I probably adjusted super quickly to 18. But those initial 5 days were super hard. I remember because yeah, there's a lot of stuff did change, but with how the game's been patched 3 times now, it's gone very similar back to 17 style in terms of defending, especially. So there hasn't been that much adjusting. It's more just about fine tuning certain aspects, and seeing which players are the best and trying out the best players in the game and seeing who you like and don't like. And that's a longer process than just over like a month and a bit. But yeah, I mean, it didn't take me that long, but it's kind of my job not to take that long. I can't be affording to wait a month because if I was still getting used to the game now, it's qualifying month. Like I've already had a month and a bit, and a month and a couple of weeks to get used to the game. Yeah. So yeah.
Is it, does it take a lot of effort, Marcus, or not a lot of effort because it would, but the kind of the enjoyment factor before you became, a real staple in the esports FIFA scene, where, you didn't have as many eyes on you and you didn't have to practice as much. So whilst you weren't as good, you had the ability to, try things out without, the whole world seeing it. But with more popularity, and the fact that it is FIFA qualifying month, or I'm not sure what it is, but you have to get a certain amount of wins per week. Does that take any enjoyment away from actually playing FIFA?
It's a good question, actually, because a lot of people ask me that. That's probably like one of the most common questions I get. Like, do you still enjoy the game? It's a hard one to answer, to be honest, because like at times I don't know because it's such a high intensity, overall just tense environment, and the pressure is immense. I'm not gonna lie, like there's no downplaying it. There's no but like I'm not complaining. It's just part of parcel. A lot of people have pressure. Professional athletes have pressure every time they step out on the court or on the pitch. Like there's so much pressure on them. And like, while I have a lot of pressure on me, I only have a lot of pressure because I was the first person to be signed by a sporting team in Australia. So compared to the EU guys when they get signed by teams, while there's a lot of pressure on them because there's more fans in general, they're one of many people over there that are signed for esports, whereas I am like the only one, which I embrace. But yeah, it comes with its pressure, like 100%. There's a lot riding on my success for the future of Australian esports when it comes to sporting teams. Like I need to do well. Straight up, like that's the truth. I need to do well. So, I still enjoy the game though. I still enjoy the game because honestly, if I didn't enjoy the game, I would show my performance 100%. If I didn't enjoy something that I'd 100% show my performance, I wouldn't be doing as well as I do. I'm not doing as well as I was doing last year. And I think that's because I am adjusting to the pressure still. Last year I was consistently hitting 39 and 40 wins every week. I wouldn't lose, or I'd lose one game. And right now I'm losing 2 to 3 games every weekend, which isn't great compared to last year. I know it's like such a small difference, but I mean,
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm still adjusting to the pressure. But I still enjoy the game because if I didn't enjoy the game, I wouldn't be doing well, and yeah, it'd really show. And like I wouldn't be tweeting about it as much and following it as much. I'd just be playing it because it's my quote unquote job. And while I love FIFA, there is more to life than FIFA.
Well, yeah, you've got a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
We wish you had.
Yeah, but like there's more to life than FIFA, and I know that a lot of people know that. So it's like the day I stop enjoying the game completely is probably the day I'll stop like playing the game because it is a game. and I love a little other games, but right now I love FIFA. I mean, it's only my first year of really competing, like straight year now. I've been a year in the scene almost, and I've been signed for Melbourne City for not even like half a year. So, yeah, a long way to go. The stuff I want to achieve, can't just just bounce after a couple of a hard result at FIWC. Like, oh man, this is too hard for me. I'm out of here. Like, yeah, as you said, getting there was like super hard. People don't realize how hard it was getting there, but it was 3 months of qualifying. I had to finish top 6, and top 3, top 4 and top 8 in the rest of the world region. And in April, I finished 11th in the world and first in the rest of the region and qualified with 155 out of 160 wins. Wow. And like then I went to the tournament in Qatar. People don't realize this. Like people just think I just went to London for fun. Then I went to the tournament in Qatar.
We don't.
No, not you guys, but like other people, And it's nice to explain. I'm not angry. It's just like it's.
You find it funny, probably, yeah.
Because people have like very high expectations. Like, oh man, you didn't win in London. It's like, man, like I'm playing against 31 of the other best players in the whole world. Like the whole world, and like the path they've taken to get there is harder than mine. Like mine was hard, but man, these guys like my score 155. I think just would have qualified me in Europe. I would have been right at the threshold, but it was first in the rest of the world by like a long shot, like 5 or 6 wins. So that just goes to show the level, the difference. But I had to go to Qatar, get out of a group of 5, and then win knockout games, a semi-final and a final under pressure, like with webcam, on stream, commentators, blah blah blah. It was my second time playing at a tournament, so it was a bit, and then that got me the ticket to London. So it was a long journey just to get there, and like initially I was super disappointed and bummed at how I did, but now I'm looking back at it, I got there, but it gives me motivation to get back there again. So while sometimes I don't really enjoy the game because of stuff that happens and no one likes losing, the game's given me so many opportunities, and I want to get as good as possible at it. And know that I can. Yeah, cause I just got to the scene. I'm hungry. Like some guys have been here for a long time. Maybe they're not as hungry as me. I'm super hungry to do well. And another thing, like Melbourne City there's a lot of good players in Australia, and they chose me. So they put faith in me. So I need to, but I want to repay the faith and do as well as possible.
Yeah.
So that means I need to hit my highest level. I need to qualify for these events. I need to show myself in Melbourne City on the big stage, on the world stage. And then if I hit my highest level and it's short, and I'm not good, I'm just not good enough, or I don't have enough natural skill, or I made a mistake, or the pressure got to me. Hey, then stuff, it happens, man. You can't win all. So I want to get to that level, the highest level, and then whatever happens then, happens then. But yeah, I'm not going to be stopping playing anytime soon.
Well, yeah, we're looking forward to more, that's for sure.
Yeah, that makes both of us. Hopefully, I can just qualify. You brought up the fact that the month right now. I'll quickly explain it. It's the first qualifying month for the FIFA World Cup. They renamed it from the FIFA Interactive World Cup. They renamed it to that. So it's top 64 in each console qualifies. So right now I am 95th, but I'm 1 win off the top 64. It's all very close still. It's first week. So second week starting tomorrow. So I need to finish top 64 over the next 3 weeks. By the end of week 4, which will be Monday, 6 p.m. for us, I need to be in the top 64. And then I go to a tournament if I qualify in January, probably somewhere in Europe. So that's also an incentive. Like I want to, I want to be there. So that's an incentive. Like I want to go over. It's like it's all paid for. Like I want to be there. So, yeah. So, yeah, no, it's a massive incentive. I mean, so I need to do my best to get there. And the second qualifying month's in February, so I have another chance. Then there's a lot of other chances to qualify for the main event later on in the year, around August again. But yeah, this is the first chance, so this is the first month. And because it's top 64, it's going to be mostly European. Probably like 40 to 50 people who will be European. No joke. Probably like, and then the rest will be filled up between the rest of the world but mostly Americas. So there won't be many rest of the world players going. Probably like 5 to 6 total. Probably like 3 from each console. So I need to be one of them because, I mean, I was ranked the best player in the rest of the world of FIFA 17. So it kind of suck if I wasn't there FIFA 18. It's like, okay, what's happened to this guy? So long way to go. But yeah, I want to get there. As you said, I'm hungry. So,
Yeah, we can't wait to see you thrive, man.
Oh man, I hope I can get there. And make people proud and have my friends watching on. It's a nice feeling when I know people are watching on and like supporting me. It's really cool. And like, it's at the end of the day, it's just a FIFA. You want to watch people playing wins the FIFA. So it's like, it's cool. It's cool being from Australia as well because everyone's like, oh, where's this guy from? Oh, he's from Australia. It's like, you're literally the only guy from Australia. Or maybe like one of like 2 or 3. Not even that.
It's cool for,
so it's like, oh man,
It's cool for me to talk about it over here, but it doesn't sink in either.
Yeah.
They thought it was easy. Just like, yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah, nah. It seems easy from the outside, but there's a lot of hard work. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to laugh about it. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. Just like anything, though. It's like, people think, what's a good example? Being a YouTuber, people are like, oh man, being a YouTuber must be so easy. All you have to do is make videos every day or live streaming a video game. Like being a gamer, live streamer. People think it's easy, but like if it's easy, everyone would do it. So, and like, yeah, you have to be like certainly naturally talented to a certain extent, but like hard work beats natural talent. That's something I've learned. So, if you really wanted to do something, anything, hard work, persistence pays off. 100%.
Yeah, and that's certainly illustrated with your career progression. And it's like, as the A-League is improving with like the talent it's bringing in, the FIFA esports scene in Australia is growing as well. And you're kind of, one of the figureheads of that, just, the position you're in and the hard work you put into that. So I think it's great. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Would you be interested at all in co-op, kind of esports matches? I know your brother Dylan is quite into FIFA as well. He won a tournament actually.
Yeah.
So he won, what was it, like $500 or something?
Yeah, I think it was like $400. Yeah. No, it was a pretty like tough tournament. It was like based here in Melbourne, northern suburbs. It was pretty hard. Like a lot of good players were there, and I mean, he said he didn't get lucky, but everything just kind of went his way that day. I mean, but you make your own luck at the end of the day. Yeah, so he won 2v2 FIFA, but I feel like if they go to 2v2, like they should really go to 3v3, 4v4, 5v5, and then eventually pro clubs, because that would be insane. Like one person controlling each player, 22 people, just like a real game. Like you got it in a stadium, and like you can be like a specialist player, right? Like, and like the way it works is that because say I played right back at high school for a long time. So say I was a right back on pro clubs. Like that's all I did. I was a right back player. You could have it just like real life. I could transfer. I could move clubs because I'm a right back. Another team needs a right back. They need me. I'm moving. I'm out of here. Obviously, it'd be hard for me in Australia because we're so far away from the rest of the world that European clubs would be like, hey, mate, yeah, you can't play with us because you're from Australia. But in Europe, it'd work because you could just move. And like pro clubs has massive potential. There's a lot of stuff they have to fix in terms of the gameplay and like how would they even do a competitive scene and qualification. There's a lot of stuff they have to work out. It's going to take time. 2v2 definitely has potential, but I think once people see anything besides 1v1, they're like, oh man, I'd love to see pro clubs. And I think everyone would love to watch pro clubs as long as it was good to watch in terms of like it wasn't super arcadey. Like you're going to have because if you ever watched 11v11 professional like pro clubs, it happens a lot in England. It's insane. Like at the moment, people just sprint around like crazy, like mid. And it's just like it's just the most intense stuff I've ever seen. It's just literally like you've got 22 mega, no, 20 because the keeper stay in goal. 20 mega athletes, 6'4" man mountains that can just run all day, just sprinting for the ball. It's like watching kids at school that are just 20. It's like watching just fully grown developed men playing at like a kid's level. Like, it's not offensive. It's just how the game is, and it's the best way to win because you can just chase the ball down and just score with your massive size. So they have to fix it so it's more realistic, but don't slow it down because it's super fun to watch. Yeah, and it'd be great to have like your specialist right back or a specialist left back, or you can play left wing back, or you're a goalkeeper, you're a center back. Oh, being a center back would be mad. CDM. I mean, obviously, a lot of people want to be strikers, but a lot of people would probably have like Lewis and I. Lewis, especially Lewis being a defender, would love to be a defender. I love to be a right back in pro clubs and shutting down a left winger the whole game.
Right, I'll go left.
Yeah, it'd be a great feeling. It'd be such a good feeling, and it'd be fun, and it brings into that whole team aspect of esports, which most big esports have: CS:GO, Dota, League of Legends.
Yeah.
So communication becomes super important, and like it's between 11 people as well. So like it's going to be hard because if you have 11 people talking at once, like it's not going to work. So there's going to have to be communication channels made, and like it'll be awesome. Get some commentators over the top of it. Like, yeah, like no, I think 2v2 definitely has potential, but man, I just want to see pro clubs. That's me personally.
How about when you're communicating with other players, if you can only communicate in your division? So, for instance, you're talking about defense. Like if Lewis and you, Marcus, they can only speak to their defensive counterparts, whereas the CDMs there are only 2 CDMs which can converse, and then the forward half, striker, 3 cams, whatever, they're the only one. I reckon that could work.
That's really cool. Actually, that's really cool. Or like have it so you can only communicate when you're just like in real life when you're close enough to actually hear the person. There'll be a distance of communication. So you have to be within a certain range to be able to communicate with people. Because obviously, if you're playing a left wing, and I'm at right back, I'm not going to be able to yell at you. I mean, I might be able to, but like how realistic that is. That's not very realistic. I'm not going to be able to yell at you and be like, oh, yeah. You won't be able to tell me in a normal voice, oh, yeah, just pass it to me in like 3 seconds. Like, I'm not going to hear you in a real life game. So it has to be...
No, Jono beat me to it. No, I would definitely do that. Just communicate maybe
awesome.
with 1, 2, 3 players that you link up with, close to you, closer, the players that are closest to your position. And the rest, when you think about it in real life, it's all eye communication. It's all
it's all just
that way.
It's all just like contact. It's already up here and just understanding the people. So that's really a really good point. So yeah, it should be based off positions, or like areas of the pitch. So the midfielders and attackers would have to have a great understanding to work together. Same with the rest of the team. So
tell all this to Melbourne City and they can pass it on to EA.
That's such a good idea. Yeah, I mean, and then we can wait a long time for it to come out.
They would listen to your opinion, I guess, now and advise all that. Can they on the game or?
Yeah, but there's so many pro players that like they take everything with a grain of salt, because like everyone, I might have my own agenda. I might be like, hey man, I really want Cross to be back, and that's because I'm good at crossing. So they take, or I want a pace that can, or I want the game to be slowed down. That's because I'm an extreme possession player and like I don't like pace. It's they gotta take everything with a grain of salt and just do their best. But as we said before, there's so many people that have to make happy with one game every year that it's pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
No, I think it would be such a cool idea because like I could. It'd open the door for so many other FIFA players as well. Say they're not necessarily good enough to play as like a single esports player, but to play an actual pro club as a specialist position. Wow, that's got my mouth watering. Yeah, I really like.
It's funny that you bring that up. Because let me see, QPR, I don't want to miss this. Hold up. Let me find it on Twitter quick. But PR actually started pro clubs today or
Wow.
yesterday. 100%. Like, loaded up right now. Classic Australian internet. Hold it back right here. Okay, here we go. QPR have teamed up with official. Yep, it's still loading. Don't worry. Okay, QPR have teamed up with official VP Pro Gaming like league. That's where pro clubs is played. Here, not here, like in Europe. To launch our official esports team, QPR eSports, and it is a pro club team. Like, it's a QPR because there's a bunch of like pro club teams right now. The scene's not that big, and like most people that watch are from like EU. It's like you kind of like know the scene to like know when the games are on and stuff like that. But yeah, pro club, yeah, QPR are in it now, so they're gonna have a team of 11 players representing them as a pro club on FIFA. So it's beginning.
Yes, that's
It's
great.
already out there. What we thought about it, it's already out there.
Yeah, and like imagine having it. So you have like clubs, say in the championship, for example, because it's hard to get the EPL going. With championship for now, or just English clubs, you get a bunch of you get like 10 teams that do it, and you have a league that goes on throughout the whole year, and like a finals system, finals and everything, and there's a prize at the end. That's how you start growing an esport like that. And like, yeah, I think it has massive potential, just massive potential.
Yeah.
But yeah, EA won't get into it until there's money to be made. Unfortunately, understandable, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but I suppose with QPR introducing that, that's going to get eyes and that's going to get attention, and we'll just keep building.
The championship it's not a small league when you think about it. So much money into English football. So much money into English football now. Anyway, I mean, it's not a bad start to get someone like QPR doing that.
Well, I know. So QPR, they used to compete in the English Premier League, so they're not like one of these clubs that gets, they just stay in the champions. They're an EPL kind of oriented side as well. They're not just Champions League. Yeah. Do you remember with QPR when they? Yeah. Do you remember with QPR when they bought like all these players when they were in the EPL, like Granero and like all these players, and they spent a bunch of money, and then I think they still got relegated at the end of the season because of the chemistry wasn't, up to scratch. Like they just spent like a massive amount of money, and they just failed to. And it comes back to FIFA gaming, like you have to have that chemistry, and that's part of the fun of pro clubs as well. If you don't have that chemistry, people will expose you, which is fun. Because, if you don't have that cohesiveness, that's what's going to separate some teams from, elsewhere. Like, I remember playing those sort of like. Can you play pro clubs on FIFA markets? What was it? FIFA 17 or 18?
Yeah, 18. Yeah, you can play. Yeah, you can play pro clubs. It's still in the game.
Okay, cool. I might get into it now. This is getting me all excited.
No, it's super fun. You can just play. You can play dropping game. You don't have to play with friends. You can play dropping games. You just go into a lobby, and it's super fun because people play centre back, left back, right back, DM, striker. Obviously, you got a lot of attackers, but people play everywhere. People communicate sometimes. Sometimes they don't communicate. It's up to you. Like you can communicate with the buttons sometimes, but it is super fun to play. Like it is without a doubt the funnest game mode on FIFA for me. Like. Because, it just has everything, and like it's realistic. You're playing the game. You're playing football. You're controlling one player. You can only do so much. You got to rely on your team. You got to work with your teammates. Unless you're some god, you can't solo carry the game by yourself. I mean, sometimes that happens, but I love it. I can't wait. I hope it becomes an esport. I mean, the QPR doing this just shows it has potential. And like, if it does, man, I'll be watching, maybe even playing. I don't know, but it's a very different game. Controlling 11 players, controlling one player, very different. A lot of the guys that play pro clubs competitively aren't very good at online, and vice versa. Very different. I mean,
yeah, because it's like specialists in like certain areas. Yeah, I could imagine. And that's the same thing with like co-op as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like a lot of people that are good at co-op. Oh no, it's mostly the other way. People that are good at co-op are usually good at the game, but people that are good at the game by themselves, like, sometimes I'm not very good at co-op, to be honest, because I like having control of all my players, especially on defense. So yeah, nah, it adds more skill to FIFA, adds more skill gap, adds different types of players, different types of game modes. Um, who knows? Maybe one day pro clubs will become the main game mode. It won't even be called pro clubs. It'll just be called FIFA. 11v11, FIFA. I've become a goalkeeper, man. Right? Imagine that. Imagine that. You're in a state. You're in like an eSports stadium. It's filled with, in Australia. It's filled with like 10 to 20,000 people. I mean, that'd be a dream. But imagine, and then you know the team's like it's stick 2-all 90th minute, and you make a crazy like reaction save, and like save your team the game. Like, you
Getting
know,
ahead of ourselves.
that's what
Big
that's
time.
what esports is about. Esports is about that excitement, both for like the players and the spectators. You know, because you got the same feeling that you do. Yeah, the same feeling that you do watching a real life sport. That's it. That's what it's about. Especially for like an e-sport, like an actual sport like football. Obviously, it's a bit different for actual like video games, but for a sport like football, it's super important to have like a very good like correlation between like the real life thing and the not so real life thing.
Yeah, because you want to identify yourself with how real
100%.
players do.
Also,
Yeah,
that's something we would watch. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool, guys. So I think we've gone above time because we've been so invested in this discussion. It's been I find it very interesting. Lewis, did you have any other?
Tells you how much future there is in all these, though. So it makes sense.
Yeah. If we can just communicate about it, whereas me being in this for a season for a year, I think you guys not really like knowing too much about it, but being interested. Imagine like guys that have been in the scene for ages talking about it. It just shows how much both interest, how much there is unknown, and how much there is to be like discovered. Just for this one game mode, we didn't even get into pro clubs like full on or anything else, career mode or anything like that. FIFA's such a big game that it's just there's so much potential. I swear it can be the best game in the world. I swear it can. Football's the biggest sport in the world by far. I swear it can be. Yeah, I know. For me personally, but I'm talking like statistical. It could be the best game in the world, man. Like the best game, the best esport. I'm telling you, there's so much potential for it. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely, and looking forward to seeing Marcus's progression and that of Australia's, and we'll see if Lewis can lead the Spanish front in terms of the FIFA esports scene. Have
need money
for
a console first. Right.
Oh yeah, and then you need FIFA points too.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, you need FIFA points. Yeah. Console, you need a game. Yeah, they're gonna
play.
They're gonna
down under as well. Need too much money.
Well, thank you very much, Marcus, for coming on. We greatly appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck going forward. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Thank you for having me on, guys. Thanks for the luck. I mean, hopefully